Okie dokie, I believe we are all the way live. Hello and welcome to my graveyard. I am your host of the evening, the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass. Always taking names and kicking candy ass, live in living color here with you on Grande's Graveyard. And welcome, ladies and gents, and all of those graveyard followers, subscribers, listeners, lovers, and likers out there. Tonight, we debut a new show concept, ladies and gents, and I'm super excited about this one because this is underrated versus overrated horror goodness, ladies and gents. Yes, I've been wanting to do this for the longest time. Funny enough, I actually had planned to do this the night I did the Leprechaun stream. But I knew at that time that the Wi-Fi was wonky, and I decided, I was like, you know what? Let me put this off and put it down the road. And only a couple of weeks down the road, I had to put it. So I was super excited about that. So I don't know. Tonight, I'm super excited to debut the show concept with y'all. I think it's going to be very fun. It's going to probably be a very bipolar episode of Grande's Graveyard because we're talking about the oh so good and the oh so bad, ladies and gents. You know what? I would have it any other goddamn way, but I'm really excited tonight. Miss Carter's in the house. Hey, everybody. Hey, Grande. Miss C, what's going on? Hope all is well with you. Ciao, Grande. Mateo's in the house 2 days in a row. What a privilege, dude. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, trust me, I wasn't planning on doing the one last night, but holy shit. I mean, that Scream 5 movie, man, that was a real doozy, if you will. I don't know. It rubbed me the wrong way. And I decided that night, I was like, you know what? I'm going to have to do impromptu rants scheduled for the next night because people got to see this. And people seem to love that rant. My subscriber thing went up and that people seem to love that. I don't know how y'all would feel about this. Now, this is something I've been thinking about. I don't rant that much on this channel, contrary to popular belief or whatever. But I definitely think, people like to see me bitch about stuff. And if that's the case, I could take rants that I've done over the years, whether it be the Saw 3 rant, whether it be the Hatchet rant on the Worst Firsts episode. That's Worst First is basically an episode where I rant the whole time. But I figured if I cut them and edit them into individual reviews and posted them like premieres like that, I think people would like them. So I don't know. That's something I'm thinking about doing, not in the too distant future. I think that would be fun because the Scream rant did so well. Maybe we'll throw up the Hatchet rant again and the Halloween Ends rant and all these other rants, because people seem to like fun rants. So I don't know. Maybe, just maybe, I'll be posting some, as the days go by. That's at least what I'm hoping to do. Robert Simeone's in the hazy. What's up, dude? What's going on with you, man? Hope all is well with you tonight. It's good to be in the graveyard, dude. It's good to be here in the graveyard myself. And we've got some living bodies and some dead bodies tonight to discuss on the graveyard. I'm super excited about that. So basically, a brief synopsis on what this show concept is, what we're going to be doing tonight on the show. So kick back, relax. I hope you have your popcorn, your water, your sodas, whatever it be. I mean, whatever the hell you're drinking, eating, whatever. I hope you're having a good time tonight. But brief explanation as to what the hell this show is going to be. So, underrated versus overrated horror. I've got 5 films in here that I feel are underrated, and I feel that need to be getting more love and more talk. And that's why the 5 films in this pumpkin I'm going to be putting over. But then you got 5 films that get too much talk, and in my opinion, do not deserve the talk, and in my opinion, belong right here in the fucking trash can. So we're going to be going back and forth. We're going to pick one name out of each go. So we're not going to just do 5 in a row. We're going to jump back and forth over and over and over again. So I figure we have fun with this show. It's going to be slightly bipolar, like I said. It's not going to be, 5 positive in a row, 5 negative in a row. No, we're going to go back and forth. I feel like it's going to be fun that way. All of you, my lovely guests in the chat, please feel free to, let me know your thoughts about these movies, whether you agree if they are overrated or whether you agree that they are underrated. I'm super excited to do this show here tonight. Let me see. I just got a couple more comments before we get into the meat and potatoes. TCM rant, Ben Grimm. That really wasn't enough of a rant, I don't know, to get a full video. That was just like maybe 6 minutes. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, if people want to see it, if people want it, love it when you go. Yeah, exactly. People seem to. It's funny. Like I would say 80 to 90% of the show is me being positive. and put over movies I like. But when I'm mad and angry, I think people just get entertainment out of it. Britt is in the house. Hey, everybody. Britt, hope all is well with you tonight. Rants are good. Just be careful for the blood pressure. Well, hey, I think I got decent enough. I mean, I think so. I don't know. Maybe we should have a doctor test my blood live on the show. That would be pretty funny. Get the beer. Dude, awesome, man. Absolutely. Undead of Night. Good brother Tom is in the hazy. Liking the pumpkin and garbage bucket props. Dude, I had to. I figured Pete the Pumpkin is all that is good and holy and beautiful and wonderful about the world. And this fucking trash can is the opposite. So, I mean, I figured, why not? Aiden Vavra's in the hazy. Aiden saying hello, everybody. Good brother Aiden. Hope all is well with you tonight, good brother. I love this already. Nice. Okay, I didn't even start yet, and he loves it. You don't have a hair on your ass unless you put Scream in there. Oh, you mean in the Overrated? Are you talking Overrated? Or I don't know. You talking about Scream 5? Which Scream are you talking about here, AJ? I don't know. You seem to love my rant yesterday because that was, oh man, people, everybody and their mother was lined up around the fucking floodgates to watch that son of a bitch. But, that is neither here nor there. We're going to jump right into this son of a bitch. I don't know what I should start with, though, because whatever I start with, that means I'm going to end with the opposite. So do we want to end this show on a positive note? That means we'd have to start negative. I don't know what we should do here, but I guess we could do Overrated. Britt's saying, oh yes, Overrated. All right. You want to do the whole Scream franchise Overrated. I see. I don't know about that. I love the first 4. I mean, 2 has its problems, 4 has its problems. I like 1 and 3 the best. But I don't think the franchise overrated. Scream 5 is a piece of shit. Your Scream 5 rant was a real skeet shoot. It's funny. As soon as I ended that rant, somebody sent me the clip from Family Guy with fucking Cleveland shooting Skeet Ulrich. There's nothing good about who you are or what you do. I'm so funny, man. I thought that was great. I may have disagreed with Scream 5, but it was still a damn good rant. Thank you. No, I appreciate it. I try. Love the shirt. Yeah, no, and that's the thumbnail too. I wanted to do Bret the Hitman Hart, who's one of my all-time favorite wrestlers, because I figured I was like, all right, if I'm doing 5 movies that are overrated, 5 underrated, what shirt do I wear, and what thumbnail do I use? And good brother AJ, he actually hooked it up. He put my face over Bret Hart doing this. And I was like, we'll put overrated in one hand, underrated in the other, and we'll just have a fucking good time on the show tonight. So that was my plan, at least. So I'm super excited for this. James Moss is in the house. Good brother James Moss. Hope all is well with you, man. Welcome to the graveyard. Brit's laughing. I don't know what. Labyrinth UFC Breakdown. Sup, gang? What's going on, good brother? Hope all is well with you tonight. All right, so Britt, she said she wanted overrated first. I guess that's what we're gonna have to do, right? Ka, thank you for the shirt. Oh, dude, absolutely. Canada represent. All right, the Hitman is the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. The excellence of execution is on the graveyard tonight. Let's dig in to our first film of the evening now, shall we? We're gonna scroll right into the fucking garbage bag of fucking scum and fuck, and we're gonna reach around. All right, we've got one here. I guess in the meantime we can move this to the side. This way I have extra animated space to rant and rave and whatnot. First one up. All right. Ooh, old one, oldie, and a lot of people would tell you, but goodie. But I'm going to tell you, this is a fucking overrated little movie right here. This one's from the year 1963. This is The Haunting. Yes, The Haunting from the year 1963. I've always found this movie to be fucking overrated. And it's one that I'm actually sort of afraid to share with y'all because, and this is the thing, this is 5 movies in this trash can may piss you all off because they all have a fan base. They all get love. They all have somewhat of praise going behind them. And The Haunting, right off the bat, this is considered one of the great classic horror movies of all time. And just as I said that, Slasher Fred entered the hazy. The Haunting is a classic. So we're going to piss off Slasher Fred. Slasher Fred, welcome to the graveyard. I don't want to piss you off, but this is one of the 5 overrated ones for me. Yes, scum and fuck. Yes, in my opinion. I love it. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. The Haunting, though. So basically, turning back the clock, I believe Robert Wise was the director of a little film called West Side Story, and that film won tons of awards. and he decided to read a little novel called The Haunting of Hill House. And after he read that novel, he wanted to follow up his Oscar Best Picture winner with an old school haunted house horror movie. And in my opinion, this is a very fucking overrated little film from 1963, The Haunting, because I think it borrows a lot of tropes from films that came out just slightly before it. And I think it's one of those films where the actual horror of it never seemed to grasp me as much as it grasps other people. For my money, if I want to watch a great classic haunted house movie, I grab Burnt Offerings. I'll grab The Changeling with George C. Scott. I'll grab, I know it's not a haunted house, but a haunted hotel in The Shining. That's another great movie. I just feel like this one right here is slightly overrated. And it basically tells the story of this woman. She goes back to this house and all of these creepy things are happening. It's very, I don't know how to explain it. It's very just generic to me. And it's a movie where Robert Wise, he was trying to play with camera angles and stuff like that. And he shot this thing, I believe, on Panavision. And he was trying to get this movie to have a gothic and atmospheric, creepy feel. And in my opinion, he just didn't grasp that for me. Now, a lot of other people will tell you this is one of the scariest films ever made. This is a terrifying, haunting, no pun intended, movie. I just never felt that. There's quite a few scenes in this that never grabbed me. Of course, people always remember the one on the spiral staircase. And, oh, it's okay, it's okay. The guy grabs the lead girl and they both turn and there's a woman and it's a jump scare. That jump scare just always felt very weak to me. There's, of course, the most famous scene, perhaps, of this entire film in the bedroom where our lead is hearing all of these voices through the walls, and she's saying, "Oh, hold my hand, hold my hand." And she's talking to the other woman, Theo, she's not in the room. And a lot of the horror in this from the director, he wanted it to be more suggested and for us to imagine this stuff. I just personally couldn't do it with this film. It never grasped me like that. However, I'm sure there's another movie that people would have in this trash can of scum and fuck here called The Blair Witch Project. And they would tell me the same thing. Grande, I didn't see what they saw. I didn't feel what they felt. I didn't give a shit. I did, though. When I saw that movie, the horror of that movie, I got it. I was cold as them. I felt as hungry as them. I was scared and hunted as them. And to me, that's why the Blair Witch Project works for me. But in my opinion, the horror sequences in this really swing and miss. And that's just my 2 cents on this. I know it's unpopular. I know probably all the names in this bin are going to be unpopular. But, I mean, that's just my humble opinion. I always also, one more thing on this, I found the ending to be weak. The ending where the woman is driving off in the car and she can't control the steering wheel. She drives into the tree. And it's revealed she drove into the tree on purpose. It's just, oh God, I just don't care for this movie. I find it grossly overrated. You want to watch a great haunted house movie from that era, from 2 years before this, watch The Innocents. That's a great horror movie. Watch Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. I know, again, that's not a haunted house film, but a great one. Carnival of Souls, another great one from the early 60s. Watch, even after this, movies like the Roman Polanski's Repulsion. That's another great movie. Again, not haunted house movies, but movies that used suggestion and horror sequences far better to me than this little film did right here. And it's funny because the director, Robert Wise, I believe it's Robert Wise, he had worked years and years prior as an editor when he was an up-and-comer with the legendary Val Lewton. And people don't remember Val Lewton. He was producers of stuff like, The Cat People and a ton of stuff. Val Lewton is a famed horror name. And he got his start in the horror genre. And after reaching the pinnacle that is Best Picture and Best Director at the Oscars, I respect that his next step was, let's do horror. And people say this is one of the best ever. I just don't feel that way. I never have. I just feel like it's very, for lack of a better term, it's very wonky. I just don't get into this one like most people. I don't get afraid of it like most people. Maybe for the time, maybe it's my age. I don't know. But then again, there's plenty of 60s movies that I just named that were very effective to me. So it's all about subjectivity. And we're going to learn that as long as this night goes on. But to me, first one out of the bag of fuck, it is The Haunting. I always found this film to be very overrated. But let's get to comments. I'm going to go back. There's a ton, I think. Let's see. Oh, geez. I think we were here. Okay, Jesus. Last week I went to Walmart where I got 2 DVDs, movies. One is the 1995 anime movie Ghost in the Shell. That's a great one. And the other one is a 1980 horror movie, Motel Hell. Dude, 2 great pickups in my opinion. Don't forget to like and subscribe here. Thank you, Britt. I appreciate that. Thank you for throwing out the love. The Haunting have a very Hitchcock vibe. It does, and I don't think it has much personality as a Hitchcock film, though. I really don't. I just don't like the characters in this very bland. The Theo character, I know at the time they were sort of suggesting that she's a lesbian in, of course, the remake with the 1999 remake, which sucks, which is even worse, with fucking Catherine Zeta-Jones, if you will, Cody, Liam Neeson, and the chick from The Conjuring, I forget her name, Lily Tyler, something Tyler, I think. I don't know. That remake is a bad film, but risque stuff. I mean, implying lesbian in the 60s, that's definitely some risque stuff. I don't know. It just doesn't add anything to the film for me. That film is it's a big swing and a miss for me. Even though Scorsese has said it's the greatest horror movie of all time. I'm like, I love you, Martin Scorsese. I do. I mean, Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, so many great films. But in my humble opinion, again, Martin Scorsese, you're not a horror expert. You're an expert about everything else, but horror, I don't know. I like The Conjuring and Insidious over The Haunting. Oh, definitely. I would absolutely, not even close. One of the underrated horror movies is The Stepfather from the 1980s. Okay, that's an underrated one for sure. It's not in the bin. Click the bell. Oh, thank you. Well, everybody's promoting my channel. Tough start. Yeah, no. See, every name in this, it could piss somebody off, and every name in this could probably make somebody really happy. So it's going to be, like I said, very bipolar. Tough start, but I understand your reasoning. It is much better than the remake. Absolutely. Not even I agree with that 100,000%. That remake's a piece of shit. Fucking Owen Wilson, all right? So that's right there. Italian Goodfellas in the house. What's going on, good brother? Welcome to the graveyard. AJ saying, hey, all. Fuck the Blair Witch. See, a lot of people would probably put that in the overrated, but I don't know. I sort of love that movie. I've been obsessed with Blair Witch lore lately. Yeah, it's something about it. It's just so simple, but it's just so damn effective and memorable. I don't know what it is. I think I just like to say the titular witch. Okay, I mean, whatever floats your boat. Oh, yes, Baby Jane and Carl. Yeah, absolutely. Of 1962. I mean, I think those are the 2 best horror films of the 1960s, let alone 1962. I mean, great stuff. The Blair Witch Project is cool, but The Ritual was always the Blair Witch film I never knew I needed. Okay. Another classic haunted house movie is the original Haunted House on Haunted Hill with Vincent Price. Yeah, no, totally. We always love to see Vincent Price. I will check out the original Haunting. Wow. Okay. Miss Carter, I hate Blair Witch. Okay. Haunting is black and white, but I really don't think black and white horror movies are that scary. Now, see, I can't even say that. Like, it's not even a black and white or an old, a new. It's not that type of thing. To me, it's just the direction and the sequences of horror. That what I think, where this one really loses me. Let's see. In Motel Hell, you first think that Ida and Vincent are a couple, but they turn into siblings. Yes, definitely. Is that King Need Gore? Because this is Grande right here, buddy. Good to see you, Corey. Good to see you, man. Welcome to the graveyard tonight. People saying hi, Need Gore. Freddy versus Jason is funny. Okay. Sup Creeps, Sub Gory Corey. Wes Craven film Shocker is overrated. Really? Oh, wow. See, I would say that's more underrated. But we'll bring this back here, the trash bag of hell. And now we'll dig into Pete the Pumpkin, the underrated horror movies. So we're gonna reach right in. We're gonna reach right in, and what is the first one we got? Okay, so this is actually the one I probably wanted to put over the most on here. I'm gonna move the fucking thing. It's really not enough room, but this is from the year 2011 or 2010, I believe. This is from Hong Kong, and I bet you almost nobody's seen this. Maybe Corey, but everybody else, I don't know. This is from the year 2010. This is from the legendary Hong Kong. This is Dream Home. Yes, Dream Home from the year 2010. This is a really underrated horror movie, and this is one that desperately needs a Blu-ray special edition in the United States. I believe the only way you could watch this in the US or Region 1 is IFC DVD put this out. They didn't put a Blu-ray out, which is a fucking crying shame. I believe it's also on Shudder. So if you have Shudder, you can watch Dream Home. Dream Home's a really cool one. Dream Home basically tells the story of this woman who grows up in poverty and in a slum, and she has really, learned to eat shit and like the taste of it. Until one day when she grows up and she promises and vows, Mom and Dad, I will one day buy you an apartment. I'll one day, overcome my humble beginnings and slow start, and I will be bigger, better, and badder. And she really is working towards buying her potential dream home. And this movie really taps into the horrors of not just real estate, which is funny enough, and it's funny because if you look it up, public speaking and moving are like the two number one fears. Just moving on, moving to a new house, new location, new place. It's apparently a big anxiety and horror starter for people. And I could totally see as to why. But of course, Hong Kong being Hong Kong, the prices keep going up and things keep getting in her way. And all of a sudden, she decides to go on an absolute murderous rampage in order to get her dream home. And this thing has crazy gore and fantastic kill sequences. And in my opinion, is really well told because it plays a lot with chronology. It starts off when it's in the middle of the film, then it goes back to her childhood. It really jumps around a lot and people can find it confusing. But to me, it really is a great horror movie in and of the fact that it asks us the question, how far would we go to achieve the dreams that we set out to achieve? And this woman on paper, we see her upbringing. We see that she's a normal woman, but it's through the horrors of real estate, not being able to gain her dream home and all these obstacles to get in the way that turn her into a murderous, monstrous killer. And at one point, she has to pay her father's medical bills. And in order to keep paying the bills that keep going up, she cannot afford the home. So there's one night where her father, he's gasping for air on basically on life support. And she pulls the plug and just stares him down because she doesn't want to pay for his meds anymore. She'll take care of her mother. I mean, that's crazy. That's horror done right, man. You killed your own dad just so you could treat your mom and so you could achieve your goal. And there's some wild murder sequences in this where she's breaking into some of these villas, killing some of the residents. There's a crazy one where she kills a pregnant woman. She trips her and then the lady falls on her stomach. Crazy fucking gore. There's a guy, she strangles the hell out of him with like a Velcro thing and his eyes turn red until he fucking dies. I mean, the gore in this thing is wild. There's one couple she kills during sex. They're having sex and he's banging this girl doggy style from behind and she stabs right through his chest and then the blood spatters on the girl's back. And the girl goes, "Oh my God, you had a lot in you." Like it's fucking like, you're like, oh my God, like this girl didn't even know. Just absolutely wild. Just the gore, the violence, and I think the psychological horror of this film is why I think it's a really, really good one. And like, to me, it's one that people do not talk about. But it deserves its mention. It deserves its due because it does everything right. Compelling story, good acting, good direction. This is, again, a director that was not coming from the horror scene, if you will. This was more of a dramatic actor, a dramatic director, a guy that had made more serious films. He takes those dramatic elements and enters the horror genre. And I think he hit a home run here because it's just so deep. And I really enjoy the lead woman's performance. You really feel her conflict and you feel sorry for her, even though she's doing the heinous acts that she's doing. But I don't know. To me, Dream Home from 2010, this is a damn good horror movie. And you can watch this. I'm pretty sure you can watch this for free online in some places. If you have Shudder, like I said, I believe it's on there. Highly recommend this one. Possibly the most underrated one in this whole pumpkin. So it's fun that we picked it out first. Dream Home from 2010. Highly recommend it, man. Horror done right, in my opinion. Let's see. We got to go back up here. Oh man. Wow. You guys are commenting like crazy here. Trash bag of Scream 5 in there because it was trash. I mean, yeah, well, it was certainly overrated. Yes, I wish it was in there, but it's always behind me. Sleepaway Camp 3, the best Sleepaway Camp movie forever. And I'm so happy I have the one sheet. One of my favorite movies of all time. I hope that Bruce Willis okay. Yeah, no, me too. That was really sad. Dream Home is underrated, bro. Brutal as fuck female slasher. Thank you. See, I had a feeling you had seen it. I feel like if anybody in here had seen it, it'd be you. That's a damn good movie, though, man. I'm happy somebody on here has seen it. Mother of Tears, totally another one that's really underrated. Shocker is underrated completely. One of the underrated horror movies is Body Parts. I feel it's like a Twilight Zone. It involves this criminal psychologist who loses his right arm and gets the arm of a criminal. I've never seen that. That sounds like a very interesting one, Slasher Fred. So you recommended one for me. AJ, this is on my watch list. Excellent. I don't know if you had it on there before or after or what, but I hope you give it one a look because you will love the gore in it, my friend. Bruiser is definitely an underrated film from the legendary George A. Romero. Hell yeah, man. George Romero is the legend. One day I will go to Hong Kong. Really? That's cool. If you do, ask him about Dream Home. One of those you can enjoy by watching contently or just having on in the background. Exactly. Like there's a really good, deep, dramatic story there. But if you're just a gore hound, you'll love it too. Like it's the best of both worlds. Like if you want compelling psychological horror, it's here. If you want gore galore, gore hound, just gore, insane violence, it's here too. It's a perfect marriage between the two. And I think a very interesting concept of discussing the horrors of moving out and the horrors of conquering your dream, even at the expense perhaps of your own husband, of your own father, of your own mother, whatever it takes, the whole mentality of innocent people. I think it's a brilliant film. Oh hell no. I don't know what I forget which part was that the pregnant woman maybe? I don't know that. Yeah, that's a hard part to watch for especially if you're a woman. Okay, so it's Dream Home, 2 words. Neither is on Shudder Canada. Added to the search list. Your description sold me. Thank you. I appreciate that. I believe it's not on Shudder Canada. It's Dream Space Home. And I'm next to positive you could watch it for free online in some places. I feel like my friend Kyle, not even a month ago, reached out to me and told me he watched it. Let me know if you have any success at finding that, Tom. Yeah, pretty hot. Painted back. Yeah, painted back red, though. Maybe you find it with, okay, she should recommend that. Cool Mask and Bruiser, I mean. Oh, totally. I love Bruiser. That's a really underrated Romero film. I agree. I always said I don't need to understand foreign languages to understand Crazy Psycho when I see one. Yeah, exactly. And I know a lot of people that would just watch this and that's all they would get out of it. And it's there. It's fantastically done and mostly practical. But I do think the underlying story that the two coming together, it's a really good film. It flows really good. Okay, so he's recommending how to watch it. Oh man, of course, I love it. Inside's a great movie. I did the episode on the French Five. And that's, I mean, I love Inside. Probably my second favorite of the French Five. Dr. Giggles is underrated. Oh, totally. I love Dr. Giggles. Oh, boy. Back into the bucket of scum. God, I dread this. I just dread this. It's like putting your hand in barbed wire. I picked one out now. Let's see. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I'm going to piss you all off. I'm telling you, I'm going to piss you all off. This one... We've run from America to Hong Kong, and now we're in Australia, mate. This is the babadook. If it's in a song, if it's in a book, you can't get rid of the babadook. I hate this fucking movie. I absolutely fucking hate this movie, and I've hated it since the first time I saw it because this was one of those everybody and their mother hyped it up. Everybody and their mother. Grande, you got to see the babadook. Stop what you're doing right now. Rent it on video on demand for fucking $11.95 and quit your day job and watch the Babadook, Grande. It'll change your life just as much as Chick-fil-A did, which, spoiler alert, it fucking didn't. The Babadook. Great concept. Absolutely great concept. And in the hands of a better filmmaker, a better storyteller, a better production team, this thing would have been a home run. In my opinion, if the Babadook was written in the mid-'80s and Wes Craven, after A Nightmare on Elm Street's success, had stumbled across the script, I think this is one that Wes Craven would have hit an absolute home run out of the ballpark, ran and caught the damn ball himself with. I really believe that. But that didn't happen. That was not the case. Of course, this was Jennifer Kent, her directorial debut, and she's gone on to make a good film. I love The Nightingale. I think that's a much better movie than this. I think Jennifer Kent has talent. I just didn't think she executed on all of the horror and what she could have done with this film. That's just my opinion. It's the poetic song of great idea, poor execution. That's the Babadook. And if you don't know the story of the Babadook, I can briefly give a sort of synopsis. It's basically this mother and son, and he every night she goes to bed. Before he goes to bed, she reads him this story called the Babadook. And the mother's dealing with the loss of her husband and the grief of getting over losing the man she loved. There's some sequences where she's in the bed, lying awake, and she sees him falling from the ceiling. It can be pretty emotional at times. But my first complaint off the bat, the kid. The kid is unbelievably annoying. To the point where it's like over 40 minutes in where before the kid just starts acting normal. And it's unbearable. It's not like, people told me, he's supposed to be annoying, Grande, though. You got to get that through your head. No. Like, to be annoying to the point where I want to turn it off, you're being too annoying. The kid's screaming his fucking head off in the car. And the mother at one point turns to him and goes, why won't you just shut the fuck up? And I was saying the same thing, but they couldn't hear me because they were in Australia. I should have said it with shut the fuck up, mate. I could put some shrimp on the baby, something like that. I don't know. I mean, but crazy annoying, like unfucking bearably annoying kid. And I get what the film's going for. And that's what frustrates me about it. Sometimes if you're ambitious, I appreciate it. I really do. And maybe I should appreciate it, more because of the ambition level. And you're showing me that you give a shit and you want to do something different. But in my opinion, different doesn't exactly mean good. And just because it's new doesn't exactly mean it's going to be executed properly. And to me, the Babadook is a big swing and miss, similar vein to The Haunting. That's how I feel. The movie is trying to discuss the horrors of grief and the fact that you can never kill grief. And in this movie, the grief they're trying to kill is the Babadook. And of course, the subtext of the husband that's passed away. I got it, Jennifer. I got it, Jenny. I fucking got it. But the problem is this. Here's the problem, bitch. And listen up all the way in the fucking outback and Kangaroo Jack and listen to me, babe, because this is what I got to say. What I got to say is, I'm sorry, I was trying to be like volume down and it just comes out sometimes. I can't help it. It's bad. I have like undiagnosed Tourette's of Australian bad executed horror, but that is neither here nor there. I get what you're trying to say, that you are never the same after you lose somebody you love. And we all understand that. If anybody's lost somebody you love, you understand that you keep living on and you go about your 9-to-5 jobs. You go about your friends, your family. But if you lose somebody, you forever have to live with the horror of that grief, of missing that person. I get it. And I think it's brilliant. And I think if tackled right, this could have been a home run. I just think, in my opinion, this is a very drawn out film, and at times it's very full of itself. It's very overlong and overdrawn. I think this is a very drawn out film. That's really my honest to God opinion on it. And I think Essie Davis, the lead, she's a great character actress. She had been in a lot of Australian television, and she does a good job as the lead. She's definitely the best thing in this movie. But her annoying son, the sequences of horror, I feel, are very, again, drawn out, overlong, over the top. And coming from somebody who is over the top, that's saying a lot. But I never cared for this movie. And of course, the very end of the Babadook is in the basement. It's living down there. They have to feed it because in the reality, you have to learn to live with grief. You have to feed grief sometimes. You have to take care of grief, but you have to still go out and live your own life. I get it, Jenny. I get it. You did better in The Nightingale. This movie, though, I found overrated. And I think it's one of those classic, it struck a nerve with people. And I know that the Babadook, it's become a big symbol of horror. And I know people to this day will tell you it's one of the best horror films in the last 20, 30 years. I just don't feel that way. I feel it is a very overrated, drawn out film. And I don't know. It's one I will never, ever, ever revisit. I think it's a big missed opportunity, if you will. And I know a lot of people disagree, but that's just how I feel. So the Babadook, Second one out of the overrated trash bag. Let's see. I think we were here. Never saw Baba Booey. Don't care to. That's a good choice. I don't think you would like it at all. Bro, John took my joke. Oh, shit. I ain't mad at you, Grande. I agree. Okay, cool. So we got another babadook hater. Baba Booey, Baba Booey. Chick-fil-A is still good here. I don't know about that. Nobody better say nothing bad about Hereditary. Nobody better say nothing bad about Hereditary now, Midsummer. Britt, I don't know, Britt. I hope you don't hate me. I hope you don't hate me because that might be one of them in the thing. Ghost in the Machine. This is an underrated horror movie. It involves who dies and he becomes this evil spirit who can get inside electrical appliances. Oh, that reminds me similar of a movie called Pulse from the 80s. That's a great one. Nobody better say nothing. I don't know. Worse. He makes Bob look like Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone. Like, it's that bad. The kid is like, you want to punt him through a field goal bad. The kid's terrible. When you said Australia, I thought you were going to say Wolf Creek. That's another piece of shit that's overrated from Australia. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to talk about that movie. That's a movie I've tried to forget. Like, that's even worse in my opinion. Criminal. Hold me back. No, don't hold you. Let it out. Grande, it's elevated horror. You wouldn't get it. Oh no, it's elevated horror. I did get it. I just didn't like it. That's the difference sometimes. I don't know, man. It's bad film. Just a bad film. I was thinking the same. Elevated horror. Yeah, elevated horror in my left ass cheek. Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Freddy's Revenge is underrated. I agree. That's one of the best sequels in that series. I agree with that. Thought the Babadook was about mental health. I'm sure. I mean, there's themes and themes of it for sure. John Steele is in the house. John Steele, good brother. Welcome to the show tonight, my friend. Hope all is well with you. Real Steele. Hell yeah. Not a fan of Midsummer either. Reimagined R.I.P. Rip of a Wicker Man. Exactly. I didn't like Midsummer either, but Hereditary, man. We may just get there. But in the meantime, let's talk about one that I like. Underrated horror film. So we're going to reach into the pumpkin of fun here. Let's see. And we've got, this is, to me, of the last 15 years, this has got to be one of the most underrated horror movies. And one that, again, at the time got its due. But now it's like everybody and their mother forgot about this fucking movie. And you know what? I do have the Blu-ray here. I have the Blu-ray for the last four in here. So I figured I could just hold this up instead of the piece of paper that you can't see. I'm talking about this little film from the year 2007. In my opinion, one of the great slasher movies of all time. This is Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. Yes, Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. To me, an absolute genius horror movie. And a horror movie that understands exactly what you have to do if you want to be the new kid on the block. And what do I mean by that? Slasher movies. A lot of people will tell you you can never do anything new or innovative or creative with a new slasher movie. You're always hearkening back to Freddy and Jason and Michael and all of these people that, were the big, names of yesteryear. But there's two ways, I think, that you can make a new slasher and do it right. And there's two things you could do. Number one, you throw a lot of gore at it. You just go over the top with the gore, creative death scenes, in a similar vein to a movie like this, over the top gore, colorful characters, crazy, innovative, inventive kills, a fun third act, and a good pace, short, sweet, simple. That's what the slasher genre should be if you're going new school, not making a sequel, requel, remake, new school, new kid on the block, up and comer. But there's another way. There's the second way. And the second way is to try and reinvent it and to try to do something to it that nobody has before. And this film right here, Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, does something that, dare I say, the slasher genre hadn't done before this. And that is do a mockumentary style of this, where we follow an up-and-coming serial killer in the name of Leslie Vernon, where we're with this film crew and we follow him in his day in and day out life of a serial killer. And he discusses, how he's setting up the final girl and all of her friends. And he discusses the cardio you need in order to be a serial killer. He discusses the rules, the tropes, all of these things that we've known to love in other horror films, but using them here in their own new creative way. I thought that was just absolutely brilliant, man. Just absolutely brilliant. The acting in this is off the charts. Nathan Basil as Leslie Vernon. It's one of my favorite performances in the history of film. That guy got it. He understood the perfect tonality of this character, because when we meet him, he's just an average Joe, blue collar guy. That's what he seems like on paper. Here's my pet turtles. Here's my house. He's just this fun, energetic guy. But, you know, that's him by day. By night, he becomes Leslie Vernon. And, you know, we follow him throughout his nights. Okay, tonight I'm going to scare the final girl. You see this door, I gimmicked this brick, and I'm going to pull it away. She's going to turn. I'll be there. When she turns back, I'll be gone. Brilliant. Just fucking with her, buttering her up. And, you know, he has this older, you know, gentleman that gives him all these tips to be a serial killer. And he does a great job in this. Of course, that's the same guy, Herschel from The Walking Dead, if people remember that character. That's the same actor in this. They show you all the gimmicks they use to slow their heart rate in order, you know, to pretend to be dead. And, you know, I just love the creativity and the nod to the slasher genre that this gives. I definitely think that this movie is super underrated because, like I said, at the time, this got plenty of buzz. Everybody and their mother were talking about it. Anchor Bay put the DVD out. People were like putting this over. But you look 15 years down the road, we never got the sequel that this thing sets up at the end. We really don't get a lot of people talking about this as much as I think it should be. You know, and it's funny because this movie, it claims to take place in the same universe as a Jason, as a Freddy, as a Michael Myers, as a Chucky. They all exist in this universe. But, you know, even though mentioning them and paying homage to them, this still is its own thing on its own 2 feet. And to me, the best scene in this movie, like without a shadow of a doubt, is right before the third act begins. Leslie Vernon's getting ready, and he's putting his makeup on, his mask on. He's getting his sickle ready. He's discussing with the lead woman how exactly he's going to, you know, pick off the people in the third act. And she says, well, what happens if the Ahab shows up? The Ahab, of course, played by Robert Englund, who is basically playing like the Sam Loomis character of this movie, the doctor, you know, Dr. Loomis, Donald Pleasant's character. She says, what if he shows up, tries to kill you? And he looks at her without missing a beat. It's not about him. And she goes, well, what's it about? He goes, it's about the final girl. And, you know, there's this beautiful music playing in the background. And if you're a fan of The Shining, you'll notice the song. I'll just say that. You'll notice the song in the background that's playing. And he looks at her. He goes, I don't love her. I love the idea of her. I love what she can find in and of herself to overcome me, because whatever doesn't kill you truly does make you stronger. And I love the whole dissection of the slasher genre in this. It's a brilliant take on it while still being an effective slasher movie on its own 2 feet. Now, a lot of people, I know the gripe. I know people that don't like this. I've heard it all before. Grande, where's the gore? A lot of people have told me that. If you're a gore hound, and that's it, you're not going to like this. It's not a gory film. It's a slasher movie. Like I was saying before, it's one of two ways you can approach a new slasher. You could throw gore at it, blood at it, but you can also change the fucking game. And in my opinion, this film, it tried to. And it's an almost game changer for me. A movie that I wish had moved the genre along at that time. But again, this thing really didn't get the praise from the mainstream going audiences. For example, this was released in a limited theatrical run at around the same time Hannibal Rising was released. Hannibal Rising was considered to be an ultimate box office bomb. That movie did like 100 times the money that this movie did. And that was considered a big bomb. So imagine what this would be considered. It's a shame that this thing didn't find an audience until years and years later. But and it seems like it's really only genre fans that puts Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon over. But in my humble opinion, it's one of the great horror movies of our generation, and one that I really want to put over because I think the world of it. Of course, it has Zelda Rubinstein in a bit role, Kane Hodder in a very fun role. He's living in the Elm Street house now. Robert Englund. You get your independent stars, which is all gimmicked around that time. Let's face it, horror in the mid 2000s, it was always how can we get these independent horror stars to be in the film so we could put them on the poster to sell it. That's everybody did that. Let's be honest, but it's done well here. They're well executed here. I really like there's a third act twist in this thing that I didn't see coming the first time. And I don't know, I think this is really well acted. To me, it's like a really, really good example of where I'd like to see horror have gone at this time and in the future. But in my humble opinion, it didn't capture the audience that it probably should have. But again, like I said, that magical scene of him and that woman talking, I just think it was just absolutely brilliant. You know, do you love her? No, I love the idea of her. And the scene where they're outside in the barn right before he's about to kill them, and he starts crying and he says, you know, this is my Christmas. He's like, if you don't stop, the whole thing just goes so fast and you can't enjoy it. And I don't know why, like the people probably laugh at me, but like, it's like scenes like that where he starts crying and they hold hands, and like, I'm sure there's probably people be like, Ronnie, you're a fucking wimp, but I get emotional. Like I'm like, yeah, like it is like Christmas, man. Like a good horror movie, a good slasher movie now, when, you know, you're looking at the past 20 years. It is. It's like a kid on Christmas because it's so fucking few and far between. It's 1 out of 365 almost. I don't know if it's the exact ratio. It's probably a little bit better than that, but it feels that way. I'm a kid on Christmas. We're doing something different with the slasher genre. We're acknowledging the people of yesteryear, but we don't have to rip them off completely, Hatchet. We don't have to rip them off to the point where it's like, all right, you might as well have just been called, this is a remake of Madman. This is a remake of The Burning. This is a remake of Friday the 13th. You can rip those movies off all you want, but you're not a filmmaker. Where's the beef? You don't have any. This is a fucking game changer. This thing should have done it. And, you know, people will say what they say. It doesn't have enough gore. They don't like the mockumentary. They don't like the handheld. I hear you. But in my humble opinion, this is the game right here. This should have fucking did it. And I don't know. I just don't know. I think this one needs more love. I love this movie. I'll forever love this movie. I think Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, I think this is a damn good movie, in my opinion. A great, great underrated horror film. Let's see. Back to the comments. Where are we? Oh, man. I'm really behind on the comments. Oh, my goodness. Where was I? All right, if I miss somebody's, I apologize. You can feel free to recomment. I think we were here. My Soul to Take, the movie is so overrated, it feels like more of a horror version of The Breakfast. My Soul to Take is overrated? Really? I think My Soul to Take stinks. Love that movie. You saw Leslie Vernon, I hope. Midsummer is coffee house horror done right. I watched it while sipping my I don't know about that. I saw Midsummer literally after I got off the plane from Mexico. I couldn't wait to see Ari Aster's next movie, and I was not impressed. Okay, an Ari Aster enthusiast that hated Midsummer. Couldn't get into the first time, rewatched it years later, and I really liked it. Yeah, no, I could see why the first time, if you went into this blind, you'd be like, what the fuck in the first 10 minutes? Because it's very unconventional. But in my opinion, that's what I love about it. Be unconventional, be innovative, go for it. If you're not going to show gore, go for the creativity. And this movie does it. The character of Leslie Vernon is just inspiring. You want to see more of him. And that's why I think people wanted a sequel. And if you don't know, this movie does end with a little bit of a sequel bait. And the classic song Psycho Killer, run, 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 run away. I mean, classic. I love the ending of this when the mortician is taking his body out and Leslie Vernon sits up. Great stuff. Let's see. I got to go now. Bye. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'm subscribed to you, buddy. No worries. And have a good night, my friend. Night in Soho is overrated. I liked Last Night in Soho a lot, to be honest. I know, though, that seemed to be... I didn't think it was the best horror movie I've seen in 20 years, but I thought it was a damn good movie. I would say it was a good one. I like Edgar Wright. For that, I could have waited to see that crap on demand. Yeah, no, for real. Kind of like Man Bites Dog. Yes, definitely. Behind the Mask is excellent. It belongs in the graveyard. Hell yeah, baby. Grande's graveyard, baby. For the moment, I only saw The Haunting. Wow. Real? Okay, so I hope people haven't seen the underrated ones. I hope you go out and hunt these down and watch these. But that's cool. So far, you've only seen The Haunt. That's really cool. I'm doing my job right. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Also, tap that bell for notifications. Shout out Miss Carter. Hell yeah. Thank you so much, guys. This is so, you guys are humbling. Oh man, I love Magic. That's a great horror movie. Yes, this movie is so underrated. You have Anthony Hopkins as the ventriloquist who believes that his dummy is alive. It also has another famous. Yes, exactly. That scene with those two sitting on the chairs, going back and forth. Try for 5 minutes not to say it. Has it been 2.5 minutes yet? I mean, it's great. And of course, Anne Margaret. I love that movie. And fun fact, Slasher Fred, and I know you like facts. The original choice was Gene Wilder. Could you imagine Gene Wilder doing that? I think Gene Wilder would have nailed it. Granted, Hopkins is probably the better feature actor and stuff. And I love Anthony. I mean, who doesn't love Anthony Hopkins? But imagine Gene Wilder in that. I think he would have fucking nailed it. I really, like, in another world, I wish Gene Wilder was the lead in that movie because I think it would be fucking just bewildering to see. I can't argue on Soho. It's definitely overrated, but I like it. I hear that. Cabin in the Woods was weird. I love Cabin in the Woods. That's one that, again, another one I put way, way over. Leslie Vernon was just too ahead of its time. Hannibal Rising was dope, though. RIP to that guy. See, no, I don't even know. Was Leslie Vernon ahead of its time? Was it? Like, okay, if it came out in the 70s, 80s, I would say that. I think this was the time it needed to come out, right? Because in the mid-2000s, the genre was very fucking played out, slasher-wise, right? We still were getting the taste of the neo-slasher of the late 90s, early 2000s out of our mouths, and it was time to be scary again. But this sort of takes tropes from that. It is a little bit self-aware. It is acknowledging horror films that we all grew up loving, right? So it has some neo in there. But I think at the same time, what it does a lot better than those neo-slasher horror movies is it doesn't become generic like them. It really becomes this creative, innovative thing, talking more about the psychology of what's in here about the slasher as opposed to the gore, violence, kills, and brutality out there. That's why I love Leslie Vernon. It's just a whole different ballgame. It was the ending for me. Of Leslie Vernon, I like the ending too. I like his totally like the slasher mentor. I think he was great. Post-credit scene. Yes, exactly. I love the run. The Psycho Killer song's great. Where's the beef? I don't know. That's just, I don't know. Sometimes I just go on rants. Now hold on just a goddamn minute. Hatchet didn't do nothing to nobody. No how. Oh God. Well, I already ranted on that, so I won't, get him king. Oh no, come on. You guys got to admit, Hatchet stinks. Talking Head, Psycho. Yes, I love it. That plays at the very end of this movie, and it's fantastic. Mateo Mark, Mothersboro is the shit. Oh shit. Leslie Vernon definitely wasn't marketed properly. See, but again, I got to be honest, Corey. I don't know how I would have marketed this. I don't, because you can't market it as a generic slasher. It's not. Do you market it as a mockumentary? Do you how do you market this? Maybe it's just a tough sell. I don't know, but all I know is when I saw it, I fell in love with it. I was like, this is exactly where I want to see this fucking thing go. And it is what it is. It didn't really go that way. Sometimes things don't play out how you wish they're going to happen. So, I mean, that is what it is. But that is the rise of Leslie Vernon. Oh, boy. See, I dread this. I just dread this. And I think other people the popcorn and fucking oh, here he goes. He's going to get pissed again. I don't know. We're back into the bag of fuck here. What's this next one here? Oh my God. All right. All my 80s horror enthusiasts, I'm about to fucking piss you off. I know all my 80s diehard horror fans, you're going to want to lynch me. You're going to line up with pitchforks and torches around the block. I hate this movie. I've hated it ever since the first time I saw it, and I always found it overrated. This is from the year 1985, which in my opinion is the greatest single year in horror's history. So it kills me to do this, to bury one from my favorite year of the genre. This is Larry Cohen's film. This is The Stuff. Can't get enough of The Stuff. All right, The Stuff. So I hear you. I bet you I'm going to get backlash from this. I don't want it, but I have to be honesto with y'all. The Stuff fucking stinks. I hate The Stuff. It is a piece of shit. The Stuff, if you have not seen it, which I'm pretty sure most of you have probably seen The Stuff, and it is free to watch anywhere. So if there's any, I'm sure you can watch that fucking movie anywhere. The Stuff tells the story of this meteor that crashes down to Earth, and then for some ungodly reason, they decide to taste what's in the meteor, and it becomes a top-selling ice cream / frozen yogurt that slowly but surely starts taking over the world, because if you eat the stuff, you start to go slightly crazy and transform into other things, and it's just a mess. I cannot stand the stuff. And now, similar vein to the Babadook, the stuff on paper has such a great concept of using those 80s infomercials to horror, and using the, all the commercials and the ads. And that is the best part of this movie, the stuff infomercials and the ads. Can you get enough of the stuff? And the, the bright lights and the runways, and the commercials are fun. I agree with that. The commercials are better than the movie itself. But the movie itself is a fucking mess. The lead kid is just like, oh my God, the lead kid sucks. He is terrible. He is like worse than Bob. He's not as bad as the kid from the Babadook, but he fucking stinks anyway, right? Like he's sort of like the kid from Stuart Little, but if he was like, he got dropped on his head. He sucks. And there's also Michael Moriarty is in this fucking movie, who's a longtime Larry Cohen collaborator. Just did nothing for me in this movie. Paul Sorvino plays like this big racist police chief in this. Completely has really, really not aged well. If you watch this fucking movie, he is the Paul Sorvino character. Yeah, fucking Danny Aiello in this movie randomly showing up, and he's getting addicted to the stuff. And I don't even understand what happened to Danny Aiello in this movie. He's possessed by the stuff, and his dog kills him? Like, what? Like, I've watched this movie about 3 or 4 times. I've never understood what happened to Danny Aiello in that scene. It makes no fucking sense. Like, he stops this guy from coming in his house. He turns, and then, like, his dog kills him? Like, what? Like, it's very odd. There's a lot of practical scenes and very just goofy. This movie feels like almost like it was made in the 50s at times with its special makeup effects. It's not good. The effects in this are not good. Considering 1985, the best year in the history of the genre, I expect a little fucking more Larry Cohen. And I love Larry Cohen. I do. But this is a weak film. And there's a scene where the kid is in this fucking truck and the stuff is coming after him, and it just looks terrible. The finale is forgettable, and this movie, even though it's probably an hour and a half, it feels like it's 3 hours long. It's just, you nervously start laughing as this thing comes to an end because it's so bad. A great concept, a really great concept, but man, like, I don't understand why this has the fan base that it does. Is it the over the topness? Is it just the idea? I could get somebody going, I like the idea, because I like the idea. I just think it's really poorly done. And I expect more from a Larry Cohen. The characters in this, unlikable, unmemorable, forgettable. Dialogue, terrible. The whole mass marketing trying to make it feel like it is global, they don't do a good job of it. It feels very low budget. And in an opposite vein to how Romero makes Dawn of the Dead feel like this global pandemic of zombie virus, I always felt Larry Cohen's film, it just feels very like tight and very in the same town. To me, that's how it felt. Didn't feel global. There's a whole twist at the end with fucking, they give this stuff to these 2 guys and it's really Haagen-Dazs. Like, what the fuck? There's this guy, this one character who has this really weird over the top death towards the 3rd act, and he just like explodes or melts, or I don't even know what happened to him. Like, to me, the death scenes in this movie were very fucking confusing. Like, they weren't horrific or funny. They were just like, what? Like, what? Can I rewind that back? And you rewind it back and it still doesn't make any sense. And it's just very poorly edited film, in my humble opinion. I don't know. In my opinion, the stuff is overrated. I can get enough of the stuff. I've seen this. I believe it or not, I saw this on 35 millimeter and with a big crowd. And it was an all-night horror movie marathon, and they showed some bangers. They showed Hellraiser on 35, Creepshow 2 on 35. They showed Elvira, Mistress of the Dark on 35. They showed Blood Feast on 35. They showed so many fucking awesome movies on 35 millimeter. And I'll never forget this guy in a Dawn of the Dead jacket. Funny enough, he comes up to me, and we're talking hard. This random guy I just met. And he goes, bro, you know which one I'm most excited for? I said, what? He goes, the stuff. And I almost laughed in his fucking face. I was like, you're fucking Dawn of the Dead, Mark, and you're a Hellraiser, Creepshow 2, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, Elvira. You're excited to watch the stuff over that? And he was like, dude, yeah, absolutely. I don't know, man. I just don't. I don't care for the stuff. I think it's a very, very overrated horror movie. And let's go back to the comments. Let's see. I would have marketed as vague as possible. I think they did, and it just didn't gross money, so it's a shame. I'm with Corey on Hatchet. Okay, I think most people are. Oh goodness, yeah, no, the stuff, man. The Little Shop of Horrors, the original is from the '60s, is a classic. You have this shy worker at a plant store. This movie is more like a detective story. Totally, I really like the Rick Moranis Little Shop of Horrors as well. What, you goddamn motherfucker? This stuff is fun. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't have fun with the stuff. I think the stuff yeah, I'm pissing people off with the stuff. I knew the stuff would rub people the wrong way. Meteor shit. It is meteor shit. It actually is. Weird body horror. I don't know if this is body horror. This is just like garbage horror. If fitting enough, it comes out of the garbage. The effects, though, why do you hate kids? They all suck. I don't know. That kid sucked in this. Yep, the commercial, the only. Okay, that's Tom is with me. Thank you. The idea is good. I think, again, like, I guess we don't have to throw Wes Craven into it again, but like John Carpenter, maybe Stuart Gordon would have hit a home run with this. Like, just somebody else at the helm. I don't know. Larry Cohen, I don't know if he didn't take it seriously enough. It doesn't have an identity. This movie's just all over the place to me. Britt, oh boy. Grande, how dare you judge body melt movies from the 80s that are just meant to be meaningless? And Corey, plotless and meaningless. They just serve to make us point and laugh, sometimes puke. I hear you, Brett. I do. I just don't point and laugh at this one. I don't. The infomercials are funny. They're over the top funny. It's exactly what. And you actually have the "Where's the beef" lady. Instead of saying "Where's the beef," she says "Where's the stuff." Funny. It has a decent sense of humor. It just doesn't capitalize all of it, to me. Danny Aiello is awesome. Yes, he is. I don't know how they got him to do this movie. He must have just been started. You're right, though. I don't remember anything about that movie except the black dude melt. Yeah, no, that was terrible. The effect of that is just aged like shit. Best body melt movies to me are The Blob and Street Trash. Love both of those. Both, in my opinion, much better horror films than this. Can't find a pitchfork emoji, but you probably get the idea, Grande. The stuff is ahead of its time. Period. All caps. Oh, boy. Miss Emi's business. I hope not to spoil anything. Do you think Stage Fright, Michael Suave, is underrated? Totally underrated. I won't spoil anything either for people who haven't seen it, but that's a damn good movie. I believe 1987. That's a damn good horror movie. It's a lot better than Stage Fright from, I think, the late, might have been the early 2010s, where it's like a musical. Holy shit. That's a piece of shit movie with Minnie Driver and fucking Meatloaf. Holy shit. R.I.P. Meatloaf, but that movie stinks. Hella May. Oh, yeah. Man's Best Friend. The movie is like one of the... Oh, dude, yeah, Man's Best Friend is great with, I believe... Oh, my God, who the hell is it? Lance Henriksen and Ali Sheedy, and it's directed by the guy that did Child's Play 2. I love Man's Best Friend. That was a really underrated horror movie. That probably could have made this. John Carpenter's The Stuff is a great idea. Imagine that. I feel like that would have been really cool. I don't know. Just maybe somebody a little bit more talented. And I love Larry. I do. I like Q the Winged Serpent. Pick Me Up is one of my favorite episodes of television ever. The Masters of Horror Pick Me Up episode, with the old school serial killer versus the new school serial killer and Fairuza Balk in the middle. I think it's one of the great episodes of television ever. But Larry Cohen's The Stuff, man, just didn't land. The Meatloaf one. Yes, John Steele knows the bad one. Yeah, no, that's a bad movie for sure. But that is The Stuff. I hate it. I will forever hate it. Not one of my faves. But we go back into the underrated vault of horror, if you will, and we're reaching around here. What have we got? Oh, okay. So this is perfect, actually. Another one that takes a little bit of a comedic approach, a horror movie that I think this is another big direction horror movies probably should have went in. And this movie could have been a game changer, if it had caught the audience that it was setting out to catch. And again, this one I do have the Blu-ray, so I can hold it up here. This is from the year, I believe, either 2000. Yeah, I think 2010. This is Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Yes, Tucker and Dale versus Evil. A damn good horror movie. A horror movie with a lot of laughs and a great sense of humor. But in my opinion, this thing is really smart too. And considering people probably see this cover, they hear the title, you'll hear the synopsis, you'll be like, that sounds like a pretty dumb movie. This movie is a lot smarter than you'd think it is. And I'll give you a brief plot synopsis. This movie basically tells the story of Tucker and Dale. They're best friends. Some would call them hillbillies or rednecks, whatever you want to call them. They're two best buddies that are looking to have a good time, good weekend, drinking some beers, going fishing, having a good time in their cabin upstate. And we follow them for the first few minutes, and then we are introduced to the generic slasher movie teens. The prep, the jock, the pretty one, we've got the whole gambit of generic characters of these college kids. And on paper, you think you've seen this movie before. Let's think of backwoods hillbilly slasher movies where we have, the hillbillies, and then we have versus the teens. Let me tell you a little movie called Wrong Turn, right? Let me tell you a little movie called The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's a ton of movies that take the whole inbred hillbillies or hillbillies versus teens, right? This movie turns that narrative 180. And this is really the hillbillies taking on these crazed, dumbass college kids. And I love that aesthetic to the film. It was a really smart idea, because why do the hillbillies up in the house that are just minding their own business, why do they always have to be the bad guy? Why don't we flip things around, and these dumbass college kids, they are the true evil in this movie? Brilliant concept. I love it. And this thing has a lot of heart to it, something you don't see generally in a horror film. And probably people go, why the hell would you want to watch a horror movie with heart in it? Why not? Why the hell not? We follow our lead character, Dale, played by Tyler LeBain. And then I believe Tucker is, I want to get his name right, actually. Alan Tudyk he's the pirate from Dodgeball, people who don't remember. And they're best buddies. And you follow Dale as he's like a hopeless romantic. He has this crush on one of the college kids that he sees. And, she's just half human. Why don't you go over there and talk to her? He goes over there with a fucking scythe in hand. You're all going camping? Like laughing nervously. And it's just hilarious. And they're all like, watch out, man, watch out, because it's all of these college kids' ignorance that think these hillbillies can never be up to any good. And it's the horrors of ignorance. That's really the horror that this movie tackles. I love, there's a scene where the one girl, she falls and hits her head on this rock, and they grab her and, hey, we have your friend, and they all think, they have Allison. Oh my God, they have her. Let's run for the hills. They run for the hills because they think that they've abducted her and eaten her face off and all these things. And then basically the rest of this movie plays out with these kids trying to capture their friend that they think has been taken or captured or stolen or whatever. And they accidentally start killing themselves off. There's one scene where the guy, I'm just going to go knock on the door. Fuck it. He goes out to walk on the door, and Tucker is chainsawing into a log that just happens to have a beehive connected to it. The bees start attacking Tucker. He goes running for the hills, but he has the chainsaw in his hand. So all the kids think that he's trying to, Leatherface their ass. And they all start running, and one of them accidentally runs right into a fucking, pointed log and impales himself. Holy shit, and this bee stings him. Oh my God, crazy. There's one, we'll work up a plan. We'll attack them. This one kid goes to tackle Tucker, and he ends up jumping into the wood chipper head first. And there's this crazy gore that shoots out on one of the college kids. A lot of fun. The deaths in this movie are a riot. They are laugh out loud funny, but they're also very gory and creative. Again, what was I saying before about good slasher movies? You want to either be innovative or creative, or throw a lot of gore at it, right? This movie is creative, and it throws a lot of gore at it. It's the best of both worlds. For somebody who doesn't like A Rise of Leslie Vernon Behind the Mask, and you don't like the lack of gore, this movie is what you're looking for, which was one that has that gore. And in my opinion, it is not talked about enough. This thing came out and like a fart in church. Nobody talked about it. Put this movie over, man. It is fantastic. There's a great scene where the lead college prep and Dale, they're sitting at the table, and we're going to work this out, and they're talking to each other. And, I want to hear from your point of view, my point of view. And the college kid tells the story that his mother was brutally raped and murdered by these, hillbillies years and years ago. And, he was conceived of that and all this stuff. And it's really, your heart goes out to him. You feel bad that this happened to him. And you understand why he may have an ignorance and hatred towards Dale and Tucker, because they are hillbillies. They are outside the norm for him. You understand his ignorance in a way. But at the same time, you can't condone the actions that all these kids are doing, trying to murder these innocent two harmless buddies. I think it's just great. I really do like this movie. I think Tyler Labane absolutely steals it. Just a great heart to the film. It was interesting to see a male character get sort of an arc, and the whole arc of this is he feels he's unsatisfied with the ladies and he can't, talk. He's nervous or whatever. And by the end, he has to dig down deep and save the girl of his dreams and battle this college frat bitch, as he calls them, in this crazy chainsaw fight circa Motel Hell. Great, great stuff, in my opinion. I love Tucker and Dale versus Evil. It has a great sense of humor. The kills in it are laugh out loud funny. The whole, the ignorance and the horrors of, I always say it's like a Three's Company episode. And people were like, what the hell do you mean by that? It's like people think one thing's going on when really it's another thing going on. And that whole narrative sort of plays out throughout this thing. And it's a lot of fun. I think it's a really, really fun little movie and a lot smarter than people would ever give it credit for. I think this is one people could judge by the cover. They see that cover and they go, I'll skip that. That doesn't look like anything good. The title, how do you really, again, market this movie? I don't know. But to me, it's just so much more, beneath the surface than what lies on top with Tucker and Dale versus Evil. In my opinion, a very, very damn good horror movie that I wish could get more of a cult following. I don't think people talk about this one enough. So Tucker and Dale versus Evil, a damn underrated horror film, in my opinion, and one that more people need to see. Highly recommend that one. Let's go back up here. Okay, not as many comments this time for this one. One of the most underrated horror movies I have seen is Warlock. Julian Sands, man, absolutely. I love that movie. Classic. Okay, so AJ loves Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Tucker and Dale versus Evil is a masterpiece. I agree. I think it is a masterpiece. It really is. Like it does everything right. It's funny. It's gory. It's smart. It's creative. It has a great character arc. It has a good message to it. I really like the film. I think it's just a lot of fun. It's taking the generic tropes and turning a 180 on it. And I think I always appreciate that. One of those I go back and watch often. Yeah, me too. It's a great horror movie to watch with friends. Like get some pizza, some dooskies, some brewskis, some popcorn, pizza, all that shit, and watch this movie. It's a great, great time with friends. I've watched it with friends before who don't even like horror. And they'll at the end they go, I don't like horror, but I really liked that, and that's to me, that's a stamp of approval. That's a movie that did its job. It's good for people that's not even made for its demographic. That's tough to do. Let's see. Britt, good movie. I can't lie. I slept on Tucker and Dale until I watched it. I think a lot of people did. I think a lot of people do. And it's funny, it's maybe even the point of the whole movie. Don't judge a book by its cover, and people can. I'm sure people saw the cover and went, nah. But when you see the movie and you see the charm that it has, I think it just becomes that much greater. Almost didn't watch Tucker and Dale. See, look at this narrative. See, that's probably why it's underrated. That's probably why it's in this pumpkin. Thought it was going to be stupid. I was wrong. Loved it. Gave it a chance because I like Tyler Bane and fantastic TV show Reaper. Yes, and I know Alan Tudyk has his own show too on Sci-Fi, I believe. Exactly. I think that's a lot of people's story with this one. They see the cover, they think it sounds stupid when in reality it's a fairly smart film. I don't know. I always thought that was an interesting. Only saw Tucker and Dale once. Remember liking it though. Highly recommend you revisit. I think it's a great one. Good one. Yeah, no, totally good one. Looking at your background art and tomorrow's April Fool's Day. Yeah, it's true, right? That is totally true. I'm excited April Fool's Day is tomorrow, man. I always watch that on April Fool's Day too. So, but that is Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Love this one. Absolutely love this one. Back. Oh boy, how many more of the underrated ones, the overrated ones do we have? I don't know. I think we have one or two overrated, and then we have. Oh man, I'm not feeling around. Are we out? I think. Okay, we got one here. I think there's two more underrated and two more. I think we got two of each left. Oh boy, this is another one. This is another one that's going to piss people off because this movie probably. And it's a shame because I've talked about Behind the Mask. I've talked about Dream Home. Talked about Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Those are three movies I wish had the cult following this movie has. And like maybe I'm hard on this movie just because it does have, it pisses me off that like to me better movies have, the cult following that this movie could have the cult following this movie has and doesn't. it sort of pisses me off. I can't lie. I'm going to put Pete the Pumpkin back in the picture a little bit here. This is from the year 2009. I hate this movie. This is House of the Devil. Ty West, man. Ty West. My old buddy. I'll never forget the first time I watched a Ty West film. It was The Roost. And it fucking stinks. And I'll never forget the second Ty West film I saw, Cabin Fever 2, Spring Fever, even though he's claimed he's disowned that film. Whatever. He was going for John Waters body horror comedy. Fuck you. You stink. And right now, he's got a movie out that everybody and their mother loves, is X. Everybody's telling me that's a great movie. I've got to see it. I'll give it a fair chance. No worries. I'm not by. I may not be a fan of Ty West, but I will go in open-minded. I promise you that. House of the Devil, though. House of the Devil. I remember this was one that got a lot of buzz, and a lot of people were putting it over. And it was another one where, Grande, you got to see this. And I remember renting this, I believe, from Hollywood Video back in the day, on DVD, and putting it in and realizing right off the bat that, and Slasher Fred mentioned it, and we'll get to his comment a little bit. But, well, here, I'll click on it right now. House of the Devil pays homage to those 70s horror movies. This is very much trying to be a 70s throwback horror film. And it basically tells the story of Jocelyn Donahue's character, who actually, funny enough, I think she followed me back in the days when I had Twitter. I would always tweet about horror, and she randomly followed me one day, and I was like, damn, I better not tweet about fucking House of the Devil, how much I hate it, because then she's going to unfollow my dumb ass, but that is neither here nor there. I don't have Twitter anymore, so Jocelyn, the joke's on you. Maybe she has Instagram, though. Who knows? Maybe she subscribed, for all I know, and she comments, you fucking fat bastard. I don't know, but House of the Devil, man, to me, this is a classic example of slow burn horror done wrong. And a lot of people, what are you talking about? It's slow burn. It's supposed to be slow burn. Do you not get it? I get it. Relax. I get it. It is slow burn horror, but it's slow burn horror done horribly fucking wrong. It tells the story of Jocelyn Donahue. She's offered this money to watch Tom Noonan's house for the night. If you don't remember Tom Noonan from, of course, the Monster Squad. And, I also always remember the episode of Monsters he did. And of course, Tales of the Dark Side, The Odds, one of my favorite episodes of that. Danny Aiello's in that, funny enough. A lot better than the stuff, but, I digress. Tom Noonan, she goes to his house, can you watch my house for the night, blah, blah, blah. He's acting weird right off the bat. And it's not even like the weird where you're like, okay, like, he was kind of weird, but I'll stay, for the money. He offers her like crazy money to stay. It's absurd. Any fucking person with a rational mind would have got out of there. But it's a movie. Okay, whatever. Let this thing play out. This movie is like a bunch of nothing. Jocelyn Donahue playing pool by herself. Jocelyn Donahue watching TV by herself. Jocelyn Donahue eating fucking olive-covered pizza by herself. Jocelyn Donahue in the fucking bathtub fingering herself. Jocelyn Donahue in the fucking kitchen with the candlestick. Jocelyn Donahue with the fucking chocolate cake knife in the fucking bin. Jocelyn Donahue. This movie's Jocelyn Donahue does nothing. Jocelyn Donahue sticks a fucking cactus up her fucking ass. I wish she had, because it would have been more entertaining than this. This is slow burn horror where it's so fucking slowly burning that you can't even fucking see anything disappear. It's just dull and boring. And for me to say a film's boring, it's fucking boring, because I like some boring films that people cannot stand, And we're going to get to one of the underrated ones. People tell me it's fucking boring. I can't even fathom it. But this is a boring film. It really is. To me, it's the cure for fucking insomnia. I find this film boring. It's Jocelyn Donahue doing nothing in a house, and then towards the end, along the way, you're outside of the house, things are going on, but they're very few and far between. Greta Gerwig, who's become like an Academy Award nominated director, she gets fucking killed for no reason by some fat pussy. Fuck you. That actor fucking sucks too. That guy's also in You're Next, and he fucking sucks in that movie too. You're a fat pussy. Sorry, not that guy, but I don't know, not the actor, but the character. Especially this, I hated his character in this and in You're Next. I thought that guy sucked. And this thing towards the end, all of a sudden, just like has this really weak finale where it's like the occult and Rosemary's Baby vibes, and it's just all thrown together in the last 15 minutes. Like there's no suspense or build or tension. It's just her doing nothing in a fucking house. And in the last 15 minutes, it's like, oh, it's a horror movie. Holy shit, we got to do something. That's what it feels like to me. And I know a lot of, oh, then you just don't like 70s slow burn horror. Fucking bullshit. People have told me Burnt Offering's the most boring movie of all time. That's a great slow burn haunted house movie. Houseu from fucking Japan. That's a great haunted house fucking batshit crazy movie. This House of the Devil to me is just poor. It's really poorly done. And to me, Amityville Horror, that's a great 70s haunted house movie. There's a ton of great 70s horror haunted house movies, and this one is just trying to be like those, but what it misses to be fucking scary and have sequences of horror. You know, I shit on The Haunting. At least The Haunting is trying to be scary. I shit on The Babadook. At least The Babadook is trying to be scary. This thing, it doesn't really try to do anything. It's just like, oh, we are 70s. We are 70s. We got this 70s filter and 70s title sequences and fucking D. Wallace Stone. What the fuck? It's just a bunch of bullshit. This movie is literally, it's not called House of the Devil, in my opinion. This movie is called House of Jocelyn Donahue sticking a cactus up her ass, because that would have been more entertaining than the House of the Devil film that we got. I don't like this film. I never in my wildest dreams will understand why this has a cult following. Why, of all the fucking movies to have a cult following for, do you follow House of the Devil? Like, why? Like, I generally ask that to people, because I know it's huge. It's popular. People have it on their fucking mantle next to Halloween. And I'm like, yo, are you fucking on crack? Like, granted, I never asked anybody that, but like, I just don't see the appeal. I don't see the appeal of this movie. It's a bunch of bullshit. Nothing fucking happens. It's slow. I've seen so many better slow burn 70s horror films that are better than this movie that's trying to be a slow burn 70s horror film made in 2009. I just have. Tom Noonan, what the fuck? I feel like you filmed for 2 days. Jocelyn Donahue, no offense, you're not ugly, but like, you're not a lead actress either. You have the charisma of a fucking Pop-Tart. Let's be fucking honest. A Pop-Tart with no fucking sugar or cream on the top, daddy. None of it. I don't know. I hate this movie. I always have hated this movie. I think it's one of the most overrated fucking horror movies of the last 10 years or the last 20 years. Now, I guess we got to go over 10 years because this was 2009. So I don't know. I never understood the appeal of this movie. There will be people that will be buried with this film, and I don't understand why. I just don't. And people will tell you Ty West is a master of horror. Bullshit. Ty West is not a master of horror. Ty West, I think, stinks, in my opinion. But apparently X is really over now, so I don't know. I've got to see X. I hear X is fantastic. I don't know. If it's anything like House of the Devil, though, I'm going to be pissed, all right? And there may just be another rant. I have no unearthly idea, but to me, it's a boring fucking film. Let's see. OMG, I met British dude who worship House of the Devil, favorite movie. Really? Wow. Kept falling asleep at this one. Yeah, me too. How the fuck can you stay awake during it? What? Like, there's nothing going on. I'm Jocelyn Donahue. Play one thing leads to another, and I'm going to shoot at some fucking pool balls. What? Like, what? Like, what is the fucking appeal of that? I agree. I never saw the appeal. I don't agree. I agree. Like, what is the appeal of this movie? Like, okay, maybe if you got a better looking lead actress, she was naked in the house the whole time playing fucking pool. Maybe if she was playing Twister with her sister. But this fucking movie, what the fuck? Like, what on earth? Grande, you got me all over the place. I really liked House of the Devil. See, this is the point of this show. This is bipolar. You're probably, this one can piss you off. This one can make you happy, and vice versa. So I'm sure there'll be some out of here that, people go, fuck Behind the Mask. They wouldn't like it. It's because it doesn't have gore. Everybody has told me they don't like that movie. Always makes the point that it's not a gory horror film. And I'm like, you're missing. That's one where I'm like, geez, you missed what that movie was going for. But I hear you. I understand. Miss Carter, let's jump him. He doesn't like Hereditary either. Oh, boy. We're going to get there. Deal. Oh, geez. I think you have to be in the right mood for House of the Devil. I like it, but it's really slow. Jocelyn in the bathtub with a candlestick is my favorite clue suspect. Yeah, no, Jocelyn. I think it's going to be Jocelyn in the fucking library with a fucking candlestick up her ass. That's what I think it's gonna be. Yeah, no. Yeah, that guy is a fat pussy. I'm sorry, you're a fat pussy. He should have been in Cats. That guy would have been perfect to be in Cats. Jacob Grande, I love you, but but that's the whole point. That's the beauty of the show. Grande's Jack. Dude, fucking, it stinks. Like, why do people what? Jesus Christ, talk about fucking Behind the Mask. Talk about Tucker and Dale. Why are you talking about House of the Devil? Like, I don't understand it. Cool, I might have trouble sleeping tonight. Maybe I'll turn on House of the Devil. Dude, if you fall asleep easily to women walking around confused in a house doing fucking nothing, you'll fall right asleep. You'll be out in 2 minutes because there's nothing to this movie. There's nothing to it. I just don't fathom it. You want slow burn, good 70s horror, watch something from the 70s. This is not a good throwback. It's not a good you want a movie that homages 70s haunted house horror? The Conjuring. That's a much better haunted house slow burn movie than this. Much better. With decent scare sequences, good acting, a fucking good storyline. It doesn't feel like it's 3 hours long, even though this is shorter than that movie. House from Japan is trippy. Dude, I love that movie. I covered that on my haunted house special. I love it. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I can't stand that movie. Lords of Salem captured almost 70s Jalonot. I dug it. I really like Lords of Salem. A lot of people hate it. I don't know. That's just my opinion, though. I really love that movie, too. Playing Twister with Captain Howdy and her sister. Yeah, no, man. I just play Twister. I don't know, man. I think that would have been more entertaining. Right foot green. All right, bitch. My left foot yellow. Okay, whatever, love the format. Thank you. Yeah, no. And this is a show we could do again. Like, there could be a overrated, underrated too. I could take 5 more of each. Like that. This could go on forever. So that's why I wanted to debut this tonight, see how the reaction was. So far, I think it's pretty decent. It's flowing decently enough. At least I hope so. All the bars is raised frequencies. You already know at John Sleep, sealed, re-sleeved. Okay. All right, on to our next underrated. I believe we've got 2 more underrated, 1 more overrated. So we're going to end on a positive note. Let's see. All right, well, we can say this for the chat because there's enough of you in here. Do you want to end on the overrated? Should we end this on a rant or should we? I figured if we started overrated, we'd end, positive with underrated. But I don't know. It is what it is. If you guys feel free to comment because right now it's underrated anyway, no matter which way you cut it. This next one up, let's see. This one. I don't even know if I have to go that much into it because I really have put this movie over like crazy. This was my favorite horror film of the year 2020, and my favorite, I guess, so far, my favorite of this decade. I loved this film, and a film that a lot of told me is fucking boring, which I want to bang my head against the wall. And a lot of people have told me that this is a wannabe Hereditary, which is just, oh my God, it just drives me insane. This is, I have the Blu-ray of this too. This is from the year 2020. This is Riley Keough in The Lodge. Probably my favorite horror movie since It Follows. I fucking champion this film. I adore this film. I think this is exactly where I want to see the horror genre go. But a lot of people just didn't like this thing. And a lot of people, the main complaint I hear about it is that it's like Hereditary. It's trying to be Hereditary, blah, 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 blah. Fun fact for you. This was delayed. This was made before Hereditary. So fuck that criticism. It's a fact, all right? Just saying, because I'm sick of people saying that. And, okay, another gripe. Oh, it's slow. It's very slow, Grande. How you think House of the Devil slow? Yeah, it is. It's fucking slow. I'd rather watch fucking Jocelyn Donahue play Twister naked with her sister than fucking watch House of the Devil, all right? That's just my opinion. But I love The Lodge. I love this movie. This movie tells the story of this family and basically husband and wife. They're getting a divorce. Alicia Silverstone is the wife in this. And this is not a spoiler. This happens about 5 minutes into the movie, so it's really not a big spoiler. Although people seem to be very shocked when they see this movie at the scene. They're getting a divorce because the main character of Richard, he's moved on to Riley Keough's character. He's fallen in love with her. He wants a divorce. And Alicia Silverstone sticks a gun in her mouth and blows her fucking head off. And, of course, we see the vantage point of her 2 children that are upset. They lost their mother. She killed herself over the husband leaving. And this one plays out like a Christmas horror where the 2 kids, the Riley Keough character and the husband, they go to this wintry Christmas lodge, and slowly but surely things start going wild. And the husband ends up going back to work to town for a few days. The lights go out, the power goes out, the food gets taken, and Riley Keough starts this slow descent into madness. And this film tells the beautiful story of which side are you on? Are you with the mentally unstable Riley Keough because we see her dark past, or are we with these children? Whose side are we on? And, I think the twist in this is just absolutely brilliant. And to me, there are people I've talked to that saw the twist coming. I personally didn't. I thought they were going to go with more of a Twilight Zone-like twist. They don't do it here. This is one I don't want to spoil much either. Like I've done a full spoiler in-depth review of this. So if you want to see that, I reviewed this and I believe it was To All a Good Night, David Hess's film, in the same episode on a Christmas special I did a couple years ago. If you want spoilers, go there. This is not one I want to spoil because I think this is one of the best horror movies I've seen in a long time. Tremendous acting, great scare sequences, great use of music and choir music, making church music scary, a fantastic finale, a iconic shot of Riley Keough and the two kids towards the end that I will never forget. And I remember this was one of the last movies I saw in the theater before COVID happened. And I'll never forget the audience reaction. Almost everybody in the theater called bullshit. And then you could feel them calling bullshit. Fuck that. That was stupid. You could feel it. I sat there with the biggest fucking smile on my face. And I was like, just when you've lost faith in the genre and you've seen another requel or sequel or Halloween 40 years later where Michael's running around on a fucking electric scooter still trying to kill JLC, trying to eat her fucking Activia, when she should be eating the stuff. I see a movie like this, and I think, this is a really, really damn good movie and a movie that needs more love. I really like The Lodge, a movie that has gotten its shit. People hate it. People say it's a Hereditary wannabe. I hear you. I think the world of this. I really do. I think this is a really good slow burn horror movie with an excellent payoff. And it always makes me think, funny enough, towards the end of Lucio Fulci. Lucio Fulci has the great quote at the end of House by the Cemetery: "We will never know if monsters are children or children are monsters." And I never understood that quote until I saw this movie. And as soon as I was like, that's exactly what Fulci's trying to say. And I always was like, what the fuck are you talking about, Lucio, you crazy bastard? Watch this movie, you understand that quote. To me, The Lodge, damn good movie, directed by, I believe, Severin Viala and Veronica Franz, who also brought us another little underrated gem called Goodnight Mommy, which is terrifying. To me, that's a really, really good movie. However, the twist is very predictable in that, and the ending almost becomes like Saw. Here, they don't go quite off the rails like that. This one, they really play it more, straightforward and creepy. And I just love this. This is going to be a Christmas staple of horror for me for years and years to come. I love this movie. I highly recommend you give this a look if you have not seen The Lodge. Great horror movie, in my opinion. Back to the comments. Let's see. Oh, boy. Where were we? I don't know. We were here. I've never seen that. It's a really good one, Brett. I highly recommend. I believe it's on Hulu. If you don't have the physical copy. I gave away my digital copy. Otherwise, I'd give it to you. But it's a damn good movie. I highly recommend. Mateo, I will finish in a positive note since we had an epic rant yesterday. Okay, so we'll finish on the other under. That's cool. Body Bags, this movie kind of feels like a Tales from the Crypt vibe. You have John Carpenter's The Crypt Keeper. Oh, I love Body Bags. That's a great one. That one, I think, once they re-released it, got its due. I don't know if that one's maybe it is underrated. I don't know. Nobody really puts it over that much. So yeah, maybe that one works. Scratch that. Now I think did see The Lodge. Good movie. A little too depressing for my taste, though. I hear that. Okay, Tom. Wow, me and Tom usually always agree. I'm interested to see. The Lodge is terrible. Good until the mom does her thing at the beginning, then it becomes unbelievable. Throw it in the overrated pile. Really? See, Tom, I think more people would be with you. I think a lot of people hate this movie. Perfect example. Dear friend, my friend Amanda, who I used to work with, and she used to watch the show a lot too. So shout out to Amanda. Hope all is well with you. Haven't talked to her in a while. Hope she's doing good. But I remember her coming to me and telling me about Hereditary and how much she loved it. Blah, blah, blah. And I didn't have the heart. And I was like, geez, I don't know how to tell her I didn't like Hereditary. I told her, she said, well, what do you like? When it finally came out. And I said, I like a little movie called The Lodge that I just saw. And she said, okay, I'll watch it. She watched it. She hated it. I mean, she absolutely despised it, man. Hated it. So, I don't know. Maybe it's the thing. Maybe if you like Hereditary, you'll hate this, or maybe you'll hate them both. I don't know. But it seems to always be, two movies that are connected at the hip. We rename bad ones requels. Okay. Matteo Appendino, Grande's rants give me life. I guess so. OMG, Eddie Myers running over Laurie Strode in an electric wheelchair. Oh, geez, I don't. Have you seen Hellblazers? I have not, John Steele. I have not. It was on Hulu. Not sure if it's still on there, though. Okay. It's new. Okay, no, I haven't. No, I haven't seen Hellblazers. So maybe that's one I'll add to the pumpkin for the next time. But for now, there's only one more name in here. Oh boy, I just got to pull it out now. This is the trick here. I don't know. I gotta find it. Is it, where the heck is it? They get lost in translation here. If I don't find it, do I have to talk about it? I hope not. Oh, here it is. It just got buried in one of the creases. It's come down to this. It's come down to this, ladies and gentlemen. Hereditary. Do I have to show it? I guess I'll show it. The most overrated one in this trash can. That's what I think of Hereditary. I hate this movie. I hate it. Britt, I'm sorry in advance. I'll never forget the night we saw this too. And the coming attractions and the people in the trailers putting it over the next great horror movie. And everybody in their fucking papaw telling me how scary this movie was. Grande will scare you to death. Grande, you'll never watch, movies the same again. Grande, it will scare your fucking pants off. I'll admit, about the first 20, 25 minutes, I was like, all right, I'm on board with this. Where is this going? The answer, straight to fucking hell in a fucking Burger King crown. Because that's the end of this. For people who fucking haven't seen this movie ends in a fucking treehouse full of naked, middle-aged, saggy fucking cottage cheese stretch mark women and their new leader, who is a pussy wearing a Burger King helmet, crown, whatever. And like that's the last thing. That's the most horrific thing you ever seen. What? This thing has just 101 fucking problems and a fucking bitch ain't one. I mean, this is just holy shit. You have this girl played by Lily Shapiro. I don't know. You're fucking creepy looking. And I know that's why they casted you. She keeps doing she's doing that noise throughout the movie, which annoys you. Her brother takes her to a party. She eats a pot brownie. She gets an allergic reaction. I'm driving to the fucking hospital. He goes to drive her to the fucking hospital. She sticks her fucking giant SpongeBob SquarePants forehead out the fucking window and gets decapitated by a fucking pole. And then, we put fire ants on it, Grande. Was that scary enough for you? No, Ari Aster. Fucking Ari. You know what? I'm going to comment it because it's the motherfucker's name. Ari Aster. That's his fucking name. I'm gonna keep this up the whole time. Ari Aster, your fucking ass, Ari. All right, you stink. And like, here's my thing. I wanted to like this. I really did. I really did want to like this. I wanted to believe the hype. People will probably be like, you hate everything. You don't want to go into new movies with an open mind. No, I'm not that way at all, man. Like, I'm not. I want to embrace the movies with you. But like the Babadook, I went in with open mind. I hated it, and people, I told people It Follows was the greatest thing since sliced bread, and they hated that. So I've been on both sides of that coin. Same with The Lodge. I watched The Lodge. Oh, Grande, I hated it. It was boring. I want to go to sleep. I want to punch the lead bitch in the face. I understand it. But this movie, what is the appeal? What does anybody find scary about this movie? This movie is bad over the top. Ari Aster has a style. He has a good, visual sense because Hereditary is a good looking film and it uses miniatures, granted not to the extent that it should have, but whatever, they filmed them. Midsommar, aesthetically, is fucking gorgeous to look at. That movie in 4K, you're like, wow, this is fantastic to look at. But as a writer, you fucking suck. You're like an inebriated David Lynch meets fucking Beaker and Honeydew from the fucking Muppets. You stink as a writer, pal, because I don't know what you're talking about. The mother goes to this lady because she's sad about the mother, and they're whole a part of this coven. And the lady that was the sidekick is in on it. And Toni Collette is slowly but surely going crazy. And I wish Toni Collette was in a better movie. Toni Collette is good. She's intense. She's furious in the film. And similar vein to how Florence Pugh is in Midsommar. I think the lead actresses do a fine enough job. But the movie around her is bad. It's just bad. It's one poor horror sequence after another. The son was a pussy. The character, not the actor. The actor's fine. The son was the biggest pussy on the planet Earth. He's in class, and all of a sudden his head smacks the table, and he's bleeding from his nose, screaming like a girl. And after he fucking accidentally kills his sister or has his sister get decapitated, he's crying in his fucking bedroom. And then the mother finds her, and it's so overly drawn out and terrible. The poor husband in this movie, he's like the only normal one, and he has nothing to do except get burned alive for no reason. Towards the end, like the finale where it's trying to be crazy and Toni Collette's going over the top and banging her head on the fucking ceiling and screaming and I am your mother and all this stuff. I found it laughable as opposed to horrific. But I really know that people genuinely found it scary. I just don't see the horror here. It's a lot similar to how I felt about The Haunting. There are people that will say, there are a lot of people that will say, hey, The Haunting scared me to death. The Haunting is the movie that made me afraid, and it's the standard, whatever. I hear that movie just didn't scare me like a lot of people. Maybe it's me, and because fear and horror, it's very subjective. It is. Prime example. People ask me, what movie scares you? Name me a movie that scares you. Mikhail Haneke's Funny Games. That is a scary film in my opinion. And it's funny because it is trying to say all these things about the horror genre and home invasion and stuff like that. I get it, the subtext there, but that's a scary film. You do not see much in that film. It is all psychologically abusive and tormenting and unrelenting. And the main heel in that scared me to death. And I'll never forget. I remember they did like this whole like international film festival thing. And this tiny little Asian woman reporter, she goes, you scared me to death. And I was like, exactly. I wish I'd seen the movie with her because she saw what I saw. We both got that same fear experience from that guy. But from a Hereditary, from The Haunting, I just don't find it scary like a lot of people do. And that's the biggest disconnect with me. The story is bad too. The story is all over the place. Let's be honest. It is. It's all over the place. It at times doesn't know what it wants to be to me. But with that said, it does have positives. It is a gorgeous looking film. Ari Aster has a very good visual sense. He just can't write. And the actors do a fine enough job. They just have nothing to work with. And the whole finale of a floating sun flying into a fucking attic with a bunch of naked, middle-aged, cottage cheese stretch mark women. And they put the Burger King crown on him. And people after the movie telling me, oh, didn't you like how weird it was? I was like, no, I want to go to Burger King right now and fucking curb stomp some chicken fries, man. What the hell? I don't get it. This Hereditary, I will gladly, proudly say I don't get it. I don't get the appeal. I don't get why people think this is the scariest horror film of all time. Oh, we have a new subscriber. That's cool. Thanks. Are we at 440 now? That's pretty cool. Milestone, sort of. I'll tell you what, at 500 subscribers, we're going to do a giveaway. So tell everybody in your fucking papaw if you want, because 500, we're doing a giveaway. Granted, we're 60 away from that, so that's not going to happen anytime soon. Hereditary, though, I just never got it. I don't get the appeal. I don't get why people think it's the greatest horror movie since whatever. I just don't get it. I think Ari Aster is shitty, and I think that he can keep directing, but I think you need somebody else to write your films. I really do. I think with a better writer, maybe you could have done something here. Same with Midsommar. And a lot of people not going to agree with this. And I probably shouldn't even admit this, but I'm gonna. I think Midsommar is better than this. I do think he learned from what he did wrong here slightly in Midsommar. But it doesn't mean that Midsommar is good. It's still bad. It's a bad film too. It has numerous problems as well. I think Midsummer pisses people off more than this. But this was the other way around for me. I think this got way more hype than it ever deserved. I really do. So let's see. You better not say anything bad about Hereditary. Too late, Britt. I'm sorry. LMFAO. Yay, big. Oh, geez. No, ew. Yeah, no. So wrong. LMAO. Yeah, no, it is wrong. I did not like it either. However, I found Tony. She is great. And I know a lot of people wanted her nominated for an Oscar. And she was good, but an Oscar? Really? Isabella Gianni was not nominated for Possession. That's somebody who needs to be nominated for a horror film. That's a great, over-the-top, crazy, batshit performance. Watch that movie. Watch that actress in that movie. Tell me that Toni Collette was better in this. I don't know. It's just, to me, it's just like enough. I'm so sick of hearing that. Not SpongeBob. Oh God, what did I say about SpongeBob? Geez, I fucking got so into that I forgot what I said. What did I say about that? I forget. Grande, you're terrible. No, I'm just honest. You saved the best for last. You don't have to drag Hereditary like this. I do have one more name in the under. We're ending on a positive note. We have one more movie to talk about. Couldn't stand Hereditary. Neither could I. Don't get it. So nasty and so rude. I'm honest. I don't know. Devil worship and the occult. Yeah, a bunch of bullshit. Oh no, Hereditary is amazing, but I love your thoughts on hating it. Yeah, no, hey man, and that's prime example. I know a lot of people, they flip, like I've yet to meet the person that likes Hereditary and loves this too. I don't know why. I don't know why these things correlate, but everybody I talk about, they go, The Lodge is a piece of shit because it wants to be Hereditary. And I always want to rip my hair out. I'm like, motherfucker, they put it into production before Hereditary was even a thought. But this thing got delayed like crazy. So, I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, no, I respect. See, Tom, we agreed on, I think, almost everything to this point. So that's why I like doing these. And it's like, we can have differing opinions in the community. This is a big thing politics misses. And I hate politics. I never get into politics. But we can have different opinions and talk it out. That's the fun of this to me. I always like to hear the other opinion. Like people tell me, oh, It Follows sucked. Please tell me why. I want to hear why you didn't like it because I loved it. I like to hear the other opinion. Sometimes people can just, get mean about it, which I'm, with the rants, I could be mean towards the film, just not people. See, I think the very things you're talking about are great choices. Okay, so yeah, exactly. And I like here, you thought those were, well done in this film and good things to tackle. And apparently, Britt, you're not alone. You're in the majority. I'm the one in the minority here because a lot of people saw what you saw and found it scary. I just didn't. I found it laughable. I really did. And that's not coming from somebody who's jaded and nothing scares me. I've seen Faces of Death. I've seen Cannibal, the marks, the true marks that just list off the things they've seen and nothing can impress them and Walk on Water and I'll still not sell it. I mean, there's people like that. Those people are whatever. Undead 100. What movie is really scary to me? The Fourth Kind. Not sure why, just super unnerving. It's funny. I haven't seen that since theater. That was the one with Mila Djokovic. And then it was sort of creepy. It wasn't the greatest movie, but it was again, like documentary style ish. And it was sort of scary. Like, hello, I'm Mila Djokovic and everything you're about to see is real. I've got to rewatch that, man. Dude, that's funny. I've not heard people mention that in a long time. To me, the misdirection is the whole point. They want you to think it's the sun. The Burger King, I don't know. The Burger King I don't know. Yeah, I agree. Midsommar was better. It really was. Thank you. I know we're in the minority of that. I thought it was a little bit more realized what it wanted to be. It was a folk horror. It was the psychology of, her sister doing what the sister did at the beginning and a lot of the imagery of that. Where Midsommar falls apart is the fucking people around Florence Pugh talking about the thesis paper. And it's 2 hours of them talking about a fucking thesis paper that we never get to see written. That movie, it had its points. It really did. It was, again, if you had somebody else to write good characters and believable characters that you didn't hate, Midsommar could have been really good. Florence Pugh hit it out of the park. She's great. She's beautiful and a great actress. But the movie, it just sort of crumbled to me. Subscribe, anyone. Tell a friend, tell a kid, tell your besties, coworker, and pap off. Tell your pap off, by God. I would rather slam my head repeatedly into a brick wall before watching Midsommar again. See, I know a lot of people that love Hereditary and hate Midsommar. I'm like, that's interesting because I see some of the same problems in each, but I do think Midsommar is a step up. I think Midsommar got some things that Hereditary didn't. Maybe Ari Aster will get better as time goes on. I just think it stunk. Subscribe, like, and share. Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, we double giveaway at 500, I promise. But 60, we got a long way to go. It follows. Nope. Exactly. John Steele is another. I mean, I respect John Steele's opinion. He's got a great knowledge of the genre. Exactly. I love to hear why he hates it too, but it never becomes, oh, you're an idiot, or oh, you're crazy, or like that's sometimes what it becomes with a show like this. And I'm sure people are probably like, Grande, you fucking idiot, you don't like The Haunting. But it is what it is. Miller Chokovich. Oh geez, but everyone does steal. Yes, it's totally laughing. LMFAO. Exactly. I don't know. Last film of the evening. Let's get Pete the Pumpkin over here. There's only one more film in the pumpkin. We're gonna reach for it. I can fucking cheat at this point because there's only one more movie we got to talk about here. This one, another one. It got the buzz when it came out, but it's sorely over time been lesser and lesser talked about. And I think slowly but surely, this one's maybe gaining an audience again. I believe this thing dropped on 4K on Amazon Prime. And I noticed a lot of people recently asking me about this movie, and I'm like, okay, maybe slowly but surely this thing's finding a cold audience, but it's been 11 years, so I don't know. This film from the year 2011, this is Lucky McKee's film. This is The Woman. The Woman from 2011. I have this awesome, I highly recommend if you don't want to, stream it on, granted, everybody's going to want to stream it, but this 4K, this is a Blu-ray, but it's a 4K scan. Tremendous. One of the better special edition releases I have. Just a really, really great special edition and a great transfer. But I'm sure the 4K transfer on Prime is fantastic too. So don't kid yourself. But I'm having a hard time getting it back in the box. Whatever. The Woman. Lucky McKee's The Woman. To me, another prime example of where I'd like to see the genre go, and another movie that I think deserves the buzz that a Hereditary gets, but it doesn't get that buzz. This one basically tells the story of, I think Sean Bridgers is his name. I want to make sure I get his name right. Sean Bridgers, yes, Sean Bridgers, and of course the legendary Angela Bettis, one of my all-time favorite actresses. We love you, Angela. Angela Bettis is the best. They're a married couple. They have 2 kids. One of them is played by Lauren Ashley Carter, who's a really big, like, independent horror scream queen, whether it be, Darling or Jugface or The Woman. She's been in a ton of independent horror movies. I love Lauren Ashley Carter. She's a great actress. They play the kids in this. There's 2 kids in this movie, and they're just, on paper, when this thing starts, the all-American family. And one day, Sean Bridgers is out hunting, and he sees this wild woman in the wild. And he decides to take her captive, chain her up, and try to teach her to be civilized. Of course, the woman is played by Pollyanna McIntosh. And this is technically a sequel to a little movie called Offspring. Offspring is and there's a sequel to this called Darlin', which sucks. And it is directed by Pollyanna McIntosh. So I don't know, great actress, bad director. This thing is brutal. In every way, I like a film to be brutal. Is it overly violent? No. But it's violent enough. Is it overly psychologically horrific? No. But it's psychologically horrific enough. This thing checks off all the boxes of what I like to see in a good horror film. The acting in this is fucking tremendous. I love the acting. Sean Bridgers steals this movie as this horrific, male dominant character. And he is just evil to the bone in this movie. You just hate his character. Absolutely hate him. But it goes to show you, because when I first heard this movie and I heard The Woman and you see this cover, you think, oh, okay, so it's going to be like a killer woman film, right? No, not at all. Not all, monsters come from the wild. Some of them wear 3-piece suits. And Sean Bridgers plays a lawyer in this film, and he is really the true monster of this movie. It's his misogynistic attitude towards women in general. It's the idea that women to him are just objects, not people. And I think he does a great job of the lead. He is horrific. He is scary. You despise him. You really want him to get his comeuppance. And, I think this thing plays a lot with psychology. Of course, there's a scene where he's trying to feed her and she bites off one of his fingers. And so to get back at her, he shoots this gun right by her ear to just sort of make her deaf and make her ears ring. And you could see that there's a bolt coming loose on the wall. And Angela Bettis points it out to him, even though she's being abused and cheated on and all of these horrific things by her husband. She still stands by him. Sometimes, and I think that's the psychology of an abused person, and digging a little deeper than the horror genre here, the horrors of real life. Sometimes if you're an abused person, it's hard for you to move on from your abuser. I believe that. I don't know if that's a scientifically thing. I don't know if, a psychologist would agree with that, but I believe that wholeheartedly. And her character in this movie, she does have a hard time doing that. She knows he's cheating on her. He knows that he's a piece of shit. And she knows that if she didn't say anything, this person would have just got away. But it was her saying that ultimately causes Angela Bettis her demise. She has to learn the hard way at the cost of her own life. Really deep for a horror film to me. And I love Lucky McKee tackling that. I think it's really well told because it's not said. It's very much more implied. Good storytelling to me. The soundtrack is the only thing in this film. Some songs work, some songs don't. That's the only negative sort of I have about this movie. The soundtrack can be a little bit at times, but some songs really slap. There's of course the great finale, and this some spoilers here because I really love this movie. I want to gush about it because I was going to do a commentary, but It Follows won the fan vote. There's a great finale where the son goes down and he's loving to torture Pollyanna McIntosh, and then she gets out and all fucking hell breaks loose, man. This thing is crazy with its finale. There's this great shot of Lucky McKee doing 360 circle pans right around Sean Bridgers and Lauren Ashley Carter because he's found out that she's pregnant and he's yelling at her for being pregnant and all of these things. And they just do the great job of zoom 360 shots and zooming in, pushing in, raising the tension level. Crazy. There's the evil other person they have, which is a big twist at the end. I mean, this thing has some really fun twists and turns along the way, and some surprises that I never saw coming. But I think Lucky McKee is one of those directors that was, right on the money with a lot of the horror films he's made. I love May. May is a movie that gets its due. The horrors of rejection and the horrors of fitting in and the horrors of wanting to be loved when you're not wanted back. The Woods, a great atmospheric throwback to a movie like Suspiria. And Agnes Bruckner just stealing that movie, and Bruce Campbell showing up in a fun cameo, and all the music in that movie and creepy, tense atmosphere. Great stuff. I love The Woods. And then The Woman, which is probably one of his most underrated. The Woods is even probably more underrated than this, which I could save for another show, which I have done a Lucky McKee episode, which I highly recommend if you haven't seen The Woman, May, The Woods. Those are all great movies, and I cover most of them on that episode. That was a really older episode, though. The Woman, though, to me, it's horror done very right. The horrors of, masculinity, the horrors of, as opposed to this monstrous woman they find, it is this civilized lawyer that is the evil of this film. And this thing is intense. It is uncomfortable. And that's, to me, what a damn good horror movie should be. It should be tense. It should be uncomfortable. It should tackle some psychological themes that not every other movie is going to tackle and be afraid to tackle. I think this is a very deep film and a film that I find myself going back to rewatch more and more and more. I sort of wish this film had a cult following. I think it's slowly but surely getting noticed again since Amazon Prime dropped this on their 4K for free. But I think everybody needs to watch this again. I really like The Woman. To me, a great horror movie. And it's funny, when I did this tonight, I really wanted to get more newer ones that I found to be underrated, because generally on this show, I focus on older films. Like, let's be honest, I'm a mark for the 70s and the 80s and, even the 60s. But most of these are films that are more recent, almost all of them. And to be honest, I think, I really think that we need to watch more newer horror as well. We need to embrace the new stuff. And these are movies that I'd like to embrace for years to come. And that's why I didn't try to pick older movies for the underrated. Maybe in another episode I will. But those are ones I felt were underrated, and those are the ones I felt were overrated. So If you agree, disagree, however you feel, let me know. And this was a fun live chat, but if you watch this after on a replay or whatever, let me know. Am I crazy for thinking the ones are overrated? Am I crazy for thinking these are underrated and should be talked about more? Please, feel free to share your opinions. There's 10 films I talked about. I'm sure you got an opinion on at least one of them. Let's go back to the comments here. Britt said, love that movie. I love it too. Okay, I'm positive I never heard of this one. I highly recommend it. It is tremendous. If you have Amazon Prime, you can watch it right now in 4K. Danae is in the house, not just horror. Hey, John, finally popping on. Haha, hope all is well. Danae, so good to see your name. Hope all is well. Mateo, Grande, if you don't want to answer, I completely understand, but what's your opinion on the Academy Awards controversy? Smith versus Rock. Oh boy. I'll read this comment first. Good show, brother John. Thank you so much, Labyrinth UFC Breakdown. I appreciate the support. We'll probably shoot the shit another 5 minutes or so, then we're going to wrap it up anyway. That's a toughie. I'll be honest, I haven't watched the Oscars in a long time because I think all those people just have their own agenda and they want to shove their politics down your throat. And Hollywood sucks. I always remember the Gene Wilder quote. I love the show. I hate the business. And I feel the exact same way. And that's why I love Gene Wilder as a human being, not even just as an actor, because that guy really did hate the gutless, spineless, ballless entity that is Hollywood. I have a theory as to what happened. I think if you watch it back, Chris Rock says the joke, you immediately see Will Smith laugh. Immediately. He didn't. To me, if you were sincerely angry about it, your sincere general first reaction would have been anger, not laughing. That's my opinion. If somebody said like, let's say I was Jada's husband, right? Which, granted, I never would be. But let's say, he called her bald or the G.I. Jane joke, and that's my wife, and I love my wife, and my first reaction wouldn't be to laugh. That's my first thing. I think what happened was they panned to Jada. I think Jada said, "Are you going to fucking do something about this?" And I think he went up there, did it, and then I think he oversold everything. Look, keep my wife's name out of your mouth. Blah, blah, blah. It wasn't sincere. Will Smith, you were a great actor. I loved you in Ali. I loved you in The Pursuit of Happiness. I think he's a tremendous actor, and it's a shame. It's a damn shame that all of this stuff overshadowed his big night winning an Oscar, and now there's talks of him being banned from the Oscars and all this stuff. Your biggest moment as an actor, what you worked for your entire life, because let's face it, he was chasing the Oscar. He's been chasing the Oscar for a long time. Do anybody remember 7 Pounds where fucking Will Smith kills himself with fucking jellyfish? Does anybody remember 7 Pounds? That movie's a bunch of bullshit to me. That's an overrated movie. It's 7 pounds in here. Will, keep your fucking 7 pounds out the jellyfish's fucking mouth. But the guy's been chasing an Oscar for years. He should have won for Pursuit of Happiness. He probably should have won for Ali. He finally wins for King Richard, which I didn't see. I won't lie. You finally win and nobody cares. You ruined your own night about someone who openly fucks other men and tells you about it. It's not sincere. He did not sincerely do that out of watch what you say about my wife. That's my problem with it. If it was sincere, if he did love her, if she wasn't open about fucking other men, maybe I would have believed the sincerity of it and been like, you know what? He took offense to the joke. Maybe he shouldn't have. Blah, 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 blah. I can excuse it. No, you slapped the guy. The guy made, in my opinion, was a G.I. Jane joke. Relax. Don't get your fucking panties up in a bunch, Jada. And you're still going to go cheat on the guy anyway because you're not satisfied by him. Come on. It's just the whole thing, it lacks sincerity. That's why I don't even, it was the talk of the town and the memes and everybody. A lot of people wanted to talk to me about it. I just don't believe the sincerity. And when I don't believe the sincerity, I have a really hard time buying into talking about it that much. I appreciate you asking, but I don't know. I haven't been talking about it very much. I see a shame. That's what I see. A shame that an actor who's been working so hard his whole career finally got that big moment with the gold statue and nobody gives a shit, including fucking, his own wife. So, I mean, it's just a shame. Tom says, underrated, Marrowbone, Cavett, Martyrs Lane. Dude, excellent choices. I've seen 2 of those. Overrated, The Witch. I like The Witch. Wolf of Snow Hollow. I've not seen Wolf of Snow Hollow. I've never even heard of that. So, I don't know. I've never heard of an overrated one. That's cool. Fugazi. It If only it was Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Will Smith would have never tried it. Seriously, though, I think Chris Rock went too far with the joke. I hear that. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the joke. The sponsors of it just happened to come out with a new Huey Lewis drug for. Oh, really? Really? Have you ever listened to Huey Lewis in the news? Richard Williams even commented on the ordeal and said Wilson was out. Yeah, he was out of line. He was out of line. I'm not saying he wasn't. I'm just saying it's a shame that he's that whole night of him winning the Oscar, which he's been chasing for all these years, is going to just never. It's like nobody cares now. Now it's like you're still, yeah, you won an Oscar, but you were in Gemini Man. Yeah, you won an Oscar, but you were in fucking 7 Pounds, where you were stalking Rosario Dawson uncomfortably. And I wish Rosario Dawson had bitch slapped him and been like, get the fuck away from me. You're the guy from fucking Hitch. That's what you did. That's what you finally were going to be recognized as an Academy Award winner. And you just threw it all away over an unsincere thing that had nothing to do with anything. I don't know. I don't know. I just am angry that Will Smith did it. I just am, like, because I like Will Smith. I really do. It was out of line though. It was. It's it to be square. Yes, it is. LMAO. Yeah, no, I don't know. It is crazy. I don't know. I don't know. Dude, he fucking was. Watch, anybody who hasn't seen 7 Pounds, watch 7 Pounds. That movie is fucking, that's another overrated movie for another day. Maybe it's at the bottom of this tray. Maybe it's below the bag. I just don't see it. Because it is sort of like a horror movie too. It's weird. I don't know. 7 Pounds stinks. Wow, I didn't think I'd end the stream talking about 7 Pounds. I thought I'd be talking about, Hereditary or the woman. I mean, I wanted Andrew Garfield to win, LOL, but yeah, it's a shame. Andrew Garfield's a young up-and-comer, and he will, I think, eventually get his day. I love Andrew Garfield. He's tremendous, and I think he will. One of your best live streams. Great fun. Do it again. Thank you so much, Tom. I appreciate that. I will do a sequel to this. I will do, maybe down the road, I'll try to do, every couple months, I'll try to do more of these overrated, underrated. This was just an idea I kind of pulled out of the hat, and I was like, you know what, I think this would be fun to do. And it really was. I had a great time. Next week, John Steele, I don't know if you're still here. John Steele is scheduled to come on the show, and I want to talk to you either after this or tomorrow, whatever's best for you, man. We have one movie already planned. I wanted to do maybe another one. I like to always do 2, especially when I have a guest. And I don't know how you feel about the movie, so I'll ask you about it in private. We'll figure it out. And I'll John Steele, I'll promise I'll message you either tonight or tomorrow, whatever works best. But we are having John Steele come on the show next week. Super excited about that. Brilliant. Bravo. Thank you so much. Great show as always. Grande night, everyone. Thank you. Appreciate it. Oh yes, I'll be in the building. Surprise me. No surprising you. We got a show prep. At least I show prep. I try to watch these. Have you seen Nightmare Alley? Great show, Grande. I haven't watched it yet, but I love Guillermo del Toro. I really like Bradley Cooper. The ensemble cast, Defoe, I've got to see it. I've seen the original Nightmare Alley, and that's a great film. So I'd really like to see del Toro's vision of it. I think it would be really cool. So I will get to that. I have HBO Max, so I'll get there for sure. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. This has been Underrated versus Overrated Horror. I hope you had a fun time. I had a great time. As always, I'll post this. Thank you all for the support and the comments in the chat. I love it as always. But everybody, keep it creepy. Have a wonderful, safe, happy, healthy weekend. Cheers for now. I am the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass. Always taking names and kicking candy ass. Too sweet, peace, and we'll catch you all next time. Good night, everybody.